Puddleiston with Jack. Cap, have you recovered from the rap?
That was good.
It was good, wasn't it? Very well done, boys.
I love me some Dota 2 memes.
Well, when you say you weren't sure if they'd be up for that, Puppy definitely be up for that. So yeah, following his cue, I'm sure.
I just wasn't sure if other people in the scene would be up for that. I'm sure Secret was down for it.
Edgy, bit of fun.
Yeah, I love edgy memes. I feel like better to bring out the personality of the players, which people have talked about is sorely lacking in a game of Dota 2, where a lot of people are more introverted, don't really go out of their way to really show their personality so much. So when we get to have fun moments behind the scenes like that, I mean, every single one of those guys got into it. Even Ace with the turnaround, they're just like, yeah, you know? I love that.
That's so good. More serious business now, though, gents, because it's quarter-final time. How do you assess the group stage as far as Secret are concerned? Only lost the one game, obviously, VGJ.
Yeah, I think both Newbee and Secret are two teams that would kind of suffer in a best of one, simply because I think they are two different teams who are a little bit more focused on drafting. Secret in particular, because of their slower approach to the game, I feel like they are much more reliant on being able to win their draft to win their game. I look back at so many of their games, and I just literally went through all the drafts, and I thought about them, and I thought about whether or not I thought Secret won the draft. And majority of the time, even in some of their losses, I felt like that they did walk away with an advantage. And a lot of that comes down to, I think, their approach in drafting and their, again, the concept of tools and the draft and being able to have certain heroes. Right. Ace has been a huge advantage for them when it comes to drafting and being able to have certain heroes that are a little bit out of the ordinary, but very potent.
They've basically destroyed the Americas single-handedly during the group stages. Complexity, Pain, and Optic are the three victims that Secret took down. I guess without being too disrespectful towards those teams, Secret would be expected to win those matches. And although Kat makes some great points about best of one, they don't normally slip up against the smaller teams, Secret, do they? They seem to be able to get through those matches, unlike perhaps a Liquid or a Virtus Pro do occasionally slip up. What do you put that down to?
It's hard to say. I mean, I would say that if you were to talk about this, how this team drafts and how they choose stuff, it can be very YOLO at times. They go with a kind of pairing, or they see some synergy in the draft and they just go for it. But it may not be the most sound. We talked about how they often tend to struggle out of lanes as well, because everything just comes together at a certain point for them, it feels like. But right now in this patch, in this environment, if you struggle coming out of the laning phase, sometimes you can't recover. The game becomes very difficult. So
yeah, it's been very difficult for some teams, that's for sure.
We saw that in Newbee versus EG. I think both of these teams had a loss that in a best of three, they definitely would have had a much better chance. And Newbee had that one-off game against Evil Geniuses where they just got run over. And there was, in fact, they were actually, if you look at that game, I went back through it. It was like 13 minutes in, there were 3 towers down, and Evil Geniuses was only up by 1K net worth. It was one of those games where everything just collapsed very quickly, and all of a sudden you make a couple mistakes, and you're like, oh, the game's over.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that happens to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at our featured matchup. We picked out 2 very experienced people in this particular matchup. It's not really a matchup head-to-head as such, but just 2 standout players for both teams. Puppy on one side and Kaka on the other side. How important is the experience that they have going to play into this particular matchup, Kat?
Well, I think that a bit of advantage comes to the hero pool. I think that Puppy, for example, I have kind of this theory about the key heroes for this matchup, and they're both supports in this regard. It's the Chen as well as the Elder Titan. So I think that is actually reflected in these 2 supports. First of all, Puppy, like the Chen, we're seeing a lot of it in this tournament, paired up with certain heroes like the Sand King. It's a laning phase win for you to be able to run a Chen in that off lane, help out your off laner, and be super aggressive, dive the enemy carry. While at the same time, Elder Titan does something similar for you, and being able to also give you that aggro opportunity to be able to win lanes. And I think that they're both signature heroes on either side of the table, and they in turn force out certain counter picks that we've actually seen in the best of ones drafting. So
it's almost the perfect couple of players to have in the game.
Yeah, it is, because I think right now we've seen the Elder Titan, Secret have a response to that. They've actually figured out a way that they really like it. They run Ancient Apparition support. So they have this Ancient Apparition support tri-lane where they all get Chilling Touch, and they just beat down an Elder Titan. Like, how can you, like, no matter how much damage you're going to get off your illusions, 3 heroes hitting you with Chilling Touch, you're not going to be able to win that. And then, in turn, we've also seen how Chen actually matches up against the Ancient Apparition, who, a hero who can't provide any sort of disables, is just run at by these creeps, and they absolutely lose their safe lane. So I think there's a very interesting matchup in the supports.
I'm going to get Jack's thoughts on both teams in just a moment, but I'm hearing that the teams are ready, so let's not keep them waiting behind the wings of the stage right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's present to you our second set of quarterfinal teams.
This team has decimated their opponents at the majors to become one of the world's finest, winners in Sweden and runners-up in Germany. Europe is their domain, and they're ready to exert their dominance once more. Welcome on stage, Team Secret. A relentless adversary who came incredibly close at TI7 has remained the deadliest team in China throughout the pro circuit. Searching for their first title outside of Asia, this team is fiercely ambitious and definitely means business.
Those souls were not yours to claim, Shadow Fiend.
Welcome on stage, Newbee.
Points goes up against 5th in the DPC. Both of these chasing a major victory. Secret are heading to try for the Triple Crown. They've already won 2 majors in the past. Newbee, of course, searching for that first one. And the first one for a Chinese team as well. They're 3-1 in this particular tournament, both teams, so very evenly matched so far, Jack. But what have you made of Newbee's group stage?
Shied too much away from the formula, and they haven't had to show too much. I think they've gotten Gyro or Underlord just about every game, just like very standard play, and they get that formula going, and it works out real well for them. I want to go back to what Cap was saying earlier about kind of Kaka and Puppy, our 2 feature players. There's a big contrast between them. Kaka's more of a traditional 4 player. Those resources often come at the expense of KP, who they'll routinely sacrifice, but he usually gets that goal to be able to make plays. In terms of drafting, he's probably a little bit more, I wouldn't say stable and steady. This is the thing that the Chinese always say as well. Like, they can usually beat the Chinese teams, but can they beat the best Western teams? Do they have enough in their arsenal? Do they add things as quickly to their arsenal as some of these other top teams? Versus Puppy, who is obviously a bit of a greedier 5 in his position, but he's very innovative. And then you see some things that they've brought into this tournament. I think they played Invoker, they played Bristleback a few times, like constantly experimenting and shifting, kind of finding their own synergy in these drafts.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And they've always adapted, haven't they? Is that always Puppy, do you think, and the influence that he has on that?
I mean, if you're going to be a top-level captain for this long, you kind of have to be, right? The game has changed so dramatically over the many, many years that Dota has been around, so you absolutely have to be ready for anything. And at a certain point, I've heard many players refer to Dota as like just a big circle, where eventually the older strategies come back into play, right? So I think that's something that Puppy's experience also holds on to.
2011,
right?
the Strats, watch out in the quarterfinal
Yeah,
in 2018.
exactly. Some things are permanently taken away. You can't do any more Pudge Chen.
No, I was going to say, none of that crazy stuff. No fountain hooking here.
Something you brought up about this draft, Cap, is you talked about the Chen, but like Newbee does not really play much Chen or Enchantress.
Yep.
And so I would expect these to be possibly priority bans against Secret.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in their best of one situation, is that they were both banned out. And then in return, I think because of the fact that Team Secret have already established that they feel like they have a counter in the Elder Titan, that maybe that's going to drop down in priority pick for Newbee.
I was going through the two teams, looking at the heroes, looking at the signature heroes for all of these particular players, and looking at how many games they played on them. It's quite incredible, actually. Newbee have 4 players that have played more than 100 games on their main hero. Secret have 3 of them, but they also have Fata, who has played 221 pro games on Puck.
Damn.
That's insane, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I don't even feel like I've seen him play that much recently either.
He's had the opportunity to play the 2 positions, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. Yeah, it is true. In terms of where we're going draft-wise, how would Newbee combat the kind of flexibility that Secret will inevitably have?
Well, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to Newbee and what I feel they are best at is their big team fight. They've always been known for that. I think Newbee's long been held, all the way going back to TI4, as one of the best high ground defenders, and a lot of that comes from their concepts of these big team fight spells. You could see it in their drafts here. For example, against Complexity, a very fast-paced team who thought they matched up well against Newbee. They actually just gave themselves, the big Tidehunter and Death Prophet. Long cooldowns, big team fight ults where it basically means you only have to win a certain number of engagements. You don't have to win every single one, but just a couple of key fights, especially around the Roshan pit, gives you everything.
We were talking back in Genting that a lot of their mood and power and pace comes from Kaka on the Sand King, and that's why they love him on it so much, and he's great on the hero. We know that's one of his signature heroes. How true do you think that holds a couple of months on? Because he's played a lot of other things now.
Yeah, he's shown himself to have a wide hero pool as well. He got criticized a bit for his Earth Spirit play earlier, but again, he's usually just has a very good feeling of both in rotations and in team fights when to come in, when to make those plays, and that's why he's entrusted always to be able to get that farm. And then, of course, he's usually the drafter as well in making the big picture decisions for this team, so he's going to also set himself up for that.
So one of the really interesting things is that Team Secret just do not win quickly. It's just they just very rarely do it. I think they've had 2 games that they've won in under 30 minutes. One of them was recently in a qualifier, at the qualifier for ESL 1 Genting, actually. So not so recently.
I was going to say, it's December, isn't it?
Yeah, that was within under 30 minutes, and that was against Planet Dog. And then the next one after that was like 3 months later in a game at Dream League. So this is a team that likes to be able to play slow. So Trent and I were going back and forth as to how Newbee are going to be able to match up against that. And Trent was pretty solidly on the fact that he thought Newbee couldn't play fast enough. But I kind of disagreed with him simply because I thought that the way Newbee had been drafting, they've always been picking up at least one good pushing hero, whether it was like, I think maybe they had a Terrorblade, they definitely had a Death Prophet lineup. They're running Dragonite as well. So I think they can take the little bit of a pace to Team Secret. Pretty much every single team. I don't think there's a slower team out there than Team Secret now. So almost every single team needs to be able to push the tempo against them.
Okay. And as far as Newbee are concerned, what are their strengths? What are they going to bring to this first game?
I would say their strength is that, again, they execute very well and they're methodical. They don't go for these, they don't pick for, like these 2 crazy high execution type of lineups. They usually have an objective taker. It's usually very balanced. And then even if KP gets sacrificed, they make up for that through playmaking, through setting up SCCC as well. But SCCC has actually been the source of kind of increasing criticism from the Chinese community recently. I think he's developed a nickname, which is basically a play on how his name is said. So it's SCCC, which sounds a little bit like she, and she means kind of theater in Chinese. So he's acquired this nickname as Theater Bro Shiko. And the reason for that is two-sided. So he puts on a show sometimes, but other times, they look at things like picking up paparazzi was at DAC, or generally like how he carries himself. And he seems to be very attuned to like public perception and kind of putting himself out there, and so that's come back as well as like a criticism of him, where it's like he likes to perform too much, or he's a bit too much trying to be flashy instead of solid. Yeah. The other thing about his play style is that he is what I would call a harvester type of player. So you have players who go in and they set things up, or they're very willing to brawl.
They grow the crops?
They grow the crops.
Okay. And then
they sow.
You're
and then
saying...
you have the ones who harvest. And so SEC, if you look at some of his stronger heroes, oftentimes they're talking about a Queen of Pain or a TA. Like, he's great at coming in and finishing fights and dealing that damage, but can he be as good when he has to mix it up a little bit, when he has to create opportunities? One way of kind of dealing with that problem is, what you've seen lately, is kind of putting him on more of these objective-taking heroes, where it's like very straightforward what he has to do in these fights, and he's at like a frontliner as well, instead of trying to be like a crazy spellcasting playmaker, which is probably not his strength.
I don't want to do any more farm analogies.
So
let's not do any more farm.
All right, I'll try and stay away from farm analogies.
but hold on, before we go on, though, he's being criticised for being flashy. Come on. Shut up, China. I like flashy. I want to see flashy. We want him to show off. He is a show-off kind of player. It's like saying to Samel, don't be too flashy. Like that Storm Spirit, don't go zipping around the map and being flashy.
Not
like
even
that,
necessarily
mate.
just play. It's kind of just like, he's really...
But he's playing to the crowd, Jack. He's playing to the crowd, surely.
Yeah.
Can't be mean about that, can we?
I don't disagree with you. I'm not the...
You're just a messenger, I get it. Yeah.
So
no more farm analogies.
Okay, fine. No farm analogies. But I think this leads into an interesting conversation, which is always, how are you going to play? Are you going to play to your biggest strengths, or are you going to try and shore up your weaknesses? And I think that's shoring up your weaknesses is something that both Team Secret and Newbee have been trying to do. I think both of them have been trying to play a little bit faster as a result of kind of the meta right now, and how all these other teams are being very successful with faster paced lineups. If you look at Team Secret's recent lineups, even I would actually go back to a very failed experiment by Secret at ESL 1 Katowice, where their very last lineup against Team Liquid, they ran, just listen to these cores: Bat Rider, Visage, Vengeful Spirit. That is not a solo lineup whatsoever. They also had an Undying as a 4 position. I think it was a Puppy Undying.
It was a Puppy Undying, yeah.
You are seeing Team Secret try and pick up that pace. I feel like they've established a better tempo for that here at the Bucharest Major. I would point to their game against Pain Gaming, where it was their second attempt at this bristleback, but they paired it with the Wisp, and they established just really strong lanes. And I think that's one way that Secret can sort of still kind of be greedy. They can still run some tri-core lineups, have all 3 of their heroes scale, or they can have, longer cooldowns, or they can have one big hero that needs to be able to scale, like something that mid-one's playing, like an Invoker or something. They can do that as long as they establish a very credible laning phase where they can actually win 2 out of 3 of their lanes.
Okay, Jack, I want to ask you about Newbee's group stage, and I want to ask you about their form since the start of the year. When they came to Genting, there were question marks over them. Are they part of this top 4? Are they part of the top 5? Are they considered tier 1, or are they 1.5? Are they 2? I think those were answered in Genting with a really thoroughly deserved victory, a brilliant performance against Team Liquid. But then they came to Katowice a week ago, and they looked poor in the group stages and went out early. Why the contrast between the two? And don't give me any New Year crap.
That would seem like the easiest reason to give.
But then that doesn't explain it, because Vici got to the final a week ago. So I don't know. It just seemed too inconsistent at times. I don't know if that's true. Is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the win over Liquid was like a monkey off their back type of situation. Last year they got a lot of flack for always coming in second place, and I think they won a LAN. It was in Taipei as well before, and then that's always what they've been seen as like kind of their ceiling. Right. It's like this team just doesn't have maybe the highest ceiling as some of these elite teams when they're hitting their stride, and just consistently good. But yeah, that's also an issue if teams begin to look at them more. Again, they've stayed together. This lineup wasn't very heralded when it was first put together last year, but now they're clearly a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and in their group stage, listen to this. They played Vega, not in the tournament anymore. OG, not in the tournament anymore. Complexity, not in the tournament anymore. Those were the 3 wins that Newbee had. and they lost one game, which was to Evil Geniuses, who won all of them. So on that basis, are they lucky to be in the quarterfinals?
As lucky as the format allows.
Wise words, Jack, wise words.
So he nearly fell for that. We nearly got him to say it, but not quite.
I would posture that they are a little bit lucky. I think Vega Squadron was a fortunate matchup for them to start. And then I think that, actually to counter that, Newbee versus Complexity, even though it is a team that would definitely rank much lower than Newbee, I think the matchup is supposed to be, the way they play, I think it's supposed to be favorable for Complexity, but Newbee still overcame that. So for me, that was a very good sign for Newbee.
And against the team who they apparently, I mean, I was hearing rumors that Complexity were destroying Newbee in practice during that major as well. And during the group stages, they were very happy. That was the team they wanted to play in that matchup.
Yeah.
But they had to play really well in that game, and they did. To come through on this one. As you can see, we've had a small delay, a couple of players with some issues. I'm hearing that one is solved and one is almost solved, so we should be able to get to the draft very shortly. So why don't we talk about draft? Why don't we talk about potential picks and bans for these two teams? Is there anything that you think Newbee is critical for them to get hold of? Any core of players, any groups of players, groups of heroes that you think, if they get these, they can play a good game, Jack?
So aside from kind of banning some of these jungle threats, I think something like a Death Prophet or DK is really stabilizing for them. I think it's something that they've gone towards playing as well on SECC, and just secure. You have something that secures objectives. You have something that's a versatile laner, and so if there's like a big surprise coming out of the draft, this DK and DP can stand in most lanes and not have an issue with that. And again, just a guaranteed objective taker as well for their methodical style of play. I think that's probably a good choice for them.
And similar to the way that VGJ Thunder are going to be playing around Yang, you have a similar setup here for KP, where you have like Underlord and Tidehunter, these sort of like tanky frontliners that are going to operate as your they set up pushes really well in that you are a frontliner. They offer you a certain amount of sustain as well, and they're just in general pretty good team fight allies. There's going to be the Chen and probably Enchantress ban by Newbee.
Newbee's turn to ban.
And I would maybe think about the Wisp as well as an addition to that.
Ten seconds remaining.
On the other side of the table, Elder Titan. I would consider for Team Secret, but again, they have shown that they feel like they have this Ancient Apparition pickup. The reason I'm hitting on that is because Team Secret also ran Elder Titan. First pick, actually. And the reason is that Optic actually banned Ancient Apparition against them. So they felt like the ET no longer had a strong counter against it and was going to be able to win that laning phase for you.
There always feels like so many mind games when Puppy's drafting.
Yeah, the next ban is interesting. Almost feels like, I wonder if they're going to try to target Kaka's pool a little bit, this ban phase.
Another interesting hero that Team Secret have been running has been the Bristleback. They experiment with this. I think the Bristleback was a hero that they thought would match up against these Gyrocopter tri-lanes. Yeah. It failed. But then they ran it again, not against the Gyrocopter, but with the Wisp, and it definitely looked a lot better in the way they were running it. It feels like a Fada hero too, in that it is oppressive in its nature. It wants to be able to win the laning phase. It wants to be in your phase and force you into plays that are not natural for you.
We said this would be Puppy versus Kaka. Look at the ban so far.
Yeah.
The signature SK is gone for Secret. They've banned out Kaka's Sand King. And Newbee have responded by banning the Chen, which Puppy's very famous for. So,
I think a core matchup that could be important. Secret might want to ban it. They might want to play it for Fada or for Ace is the Razor. But the Razor also matches up pretty well against the Lone Druid, which is, I think, a hero that would work very well for Team Secret in being able to rat out this game against Newbee, because typically, with so much team fight power that you have, you usually lack the heroes to be able to address split push. Longer cooldowns and such, you don't want to blow those for a single hero split pushing you out.
Anomaly ban from Newbee. They're moving away a little bit from
seconds.
focusing on one area at least, but KP has been very effective with the Omni.
And I would say that would make
There's
the Razor more
Yeah.
important because the Omni's banned, which you have to take it out of the pool.
Totally makes sense. Here we go then, first pick.
Team Secret's turn to pick.
Naga Siren.
I forgot about the Newbie Naga Siren. That was the other support.
It's been very popular, yeah. It's been
And
very popular.
There's the Disruptor out there as well.
This is pretty unlikely, but obviously the small wrinkle for Newbee is that KP is a really good Naga Siren player as a core. He's known for playing this hero. So if somehow the situation called for that, it'd probably be KP on it. But I find it very unlikely in this environment.
I will tell you, I played against or with a Naga Siren offlane in a pub just the other day, and it was Boogie. Right, so it was actual pro player, plays for 4 Anchors and Sea Captain, I think. And he was actually playing the Naga Siren offlane and was pulling and stacking for his mid SF, which I thought was an interesting thing, especially on the Dire side. They are going to take the Disruptor away from the Naga and pick up a Gyrocopter.
So when this Naga gets through, oftentimes you want to deny pick or also ban out some of these natural team fight synergy heroes, and Disruptor there is kind of a natural choice for that as well.
You want to force Naga Siren to constantly be using the ultimate defensively, especially even better because you have a BKB early pickup hero on the Gyrocopter. You never want to be in a position where Naga Siren feels like she can set up an offensive ultimate because she has better team fight. So Secret, I think, are countering the Naga opening relatively well.
No. And they effectively have 4 bans because that Disruptor is Faith's most played over the last 3 months. It's also Puppy's most played, by the way, as well. And we get a Witch Doctor on the other side for Newbee. Interesting. Interesting in the sense that Faith plays both of those. So maybe it is a KP offlane.
10 seconds.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Very
It's
unlikely.
Kaka
It'd be
would
hugely
the Naga,
surprising.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be Kaka on the Naga and Faith on...
I have not seen it in a pro game yet. This Naga Siren in a different position.
No, you're right. Didn't maybe I'm dreaming this, but didn't KP once say he loved playing Naga Siren and he just didn't get a chance to
He
play
does
it
love
anymore?
playing Naga Siren. He loves playing Tinker as well, but he's not the
he's
not the mid player.
disgusting. Like that.
He does hate all the disgusting heroes.
So there's the Lifestealer ban we was talking about earlier that some teams feel like is a one-to-one matchup against the Gyrocopter.
Yeah, it would have been a good pick against their first 2 as well.
Yeah, and you can't run it for Secret, obviously, when you already have Gyro and a Naga on the enemy team.
Team Secret's turn to ban.
Abaddon is one of those defensive setup heroes that reacts very well to the setup that the Naga Siren provides you. You can't really go on him at all. He's just got to pop his ultimate if necessary, and he protects someone else at the same time. And they don't have that protecting hero for a Gyrocopter yet.
And previously on your screen is being
being
focused a little bit here. He's lost his Omni, he's now lost his Hammer as well.
And he might lose his Tidehunter as well.
Yeah, well, see, they both like that as well. It's Farah's most played for the last 3 months. It's also KP's most played in the last 3 months. The Bat's gone as well, so the offlane's getting a whole load of abuse in terms of bans right now. And is this the tide? Or do they want it themselves?
Yeah, Abba's another one of those kind of
10 seconds
emerging
remaining.
heroes from this tournament. So we've seen EG run it quite a few times. And also just someone that can kind of lane against this Naga Witch Doctor can be a very scary lane for a number of offlaners to run into, but he has a good way of keeping himself alive.
With the amount of team fight that Team Secret are setting up for themselves, they do have an opportunity to go for a Furion if they would like to, in that it does provide that split push. It provides the opportunity to always keep Newbee dealing with the side lane push, and then you have the other 4 heroes who are good enough at team fight to be able to overcome what is a significant weakness of the Furion, who just doesn't provide anything in that regard.
Remaining.
So the time was banned, as we discussed.
5 seconds remaining.
I feel like Underlord is one of the remaining offlaners here that is quite good, as well as the Brewmaster. I would expect Team Secret to maybe favor Brew.
Okay, that's enough. That's probably a Yaps or Shaker, isn't it?
Yeah. He had one hell of a game
He
at
did.
Katowice.
He did. That was a massive MVP game.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
So where did Newbee go
5
next?
seconds remaining.
the kind of Secret staying true to form. Not afraid to have, I would say, a greedier support duo here. I mean, both these heroes, you want levels on the Disruptor, and you kind of need some farm and items on the Earthshaker as well. So I would expect their last two picks to be a bit more active and have a lot of kill potential. Otherwise, these heroes, they're not usually that dominant in lane. And so you're gonna want to be able to punish Newbee in lanes with killers the next two picks.
I was going to say Viper. I really liked the last series and how they picked Viper against the Gyrocopter. I think it's a very suitable answer, and you're able to pick your mid early, which is a weird kind of advantage most of the time, especially with many carry mids being run right now. You want to be able to save that for last pick. Viper is one of the few that you could feel really good about showing your cards first.
5 seconds remaining.
It's not going to feel terribly threatened by the Earthshaker rotations either. Disruptor, again, it's the Disruptor Gyrocopter opening that just says so much magic damage Viper will not care about. It also prevents, or at least inhibits a little bit, the DK pickup because of the break mechanic of the Viper. But then again, we've seen how Dragon Knights can actually still win their lane against Viper through the Breathe Fire mechanics.
Do love watching the different captains draft. You know, it's interesting who's animated, who's not animated, who speaks a lot, who explains things in the booth. Puppy's always very calm but very firm. Always talks it through, even if I guess he's probably thought it through in his head, but he always tells his team. He's always talking it through. Some of the others, I mean, ROTK just sits down and drafts whatever he wants for his team to play. They don't even get a say in it. I do find it fascinating, the different dynamics inside the booth.
Yeah, for ROTK, the thought is, you know, it's like he can make the players play some things that they otherwise wouldn't, or play style. Yeah.
It's almost like he's the manager, and what he says goes, and they play whatever they're given, right?
That's basically that's how it is.
Like a football team, and you go, no, you're playing up front today, and you're playing in midfield, and you're going in goal, and that's it.
Yeah, and then when his ideas are realized, and you have someone with such strong ideas and such a good sense of the game, it can be a good source of confidence. Also, if you do that, you open yourself a little bit less to kind of constant second guessing.
There's down the Lords. We did talk about it.
And it's something that Newbee have drafted a couple times.
Yep.
They drafted both against the Gyrocopter, feeling like the sustain is a good way to be able to prevent the Gyrocopter from going out of control. And then also they picked it with it in a different time. This is looking like a lineup that's just going to be super tanky, that's going to be hard for Team Secret to be able to have a whole lot of effectiveness with this Gyrocopter, but Team Secret are in a better position, I think, than maybe TNC was, because they've at least seen how that happened in the last series, and they have their last pick for their mid still to go. I'm kind of thinking this is going to be a Fada Tiny, but they could still do certain things, like maybe a safe lane Tiny and mid Gyrocopter or something like that.
Yeah, they're not a tiny playing team.
No, they're not.
It's just not something they've run a huge amount.
Yeah, they have to. Their last two core picks will probably need to have pretty high kill potential. And certainly, once he has levels, the Tiny definitely does. It makes the roaming very profitable across lanes.
I think the tankiness takes away maybe the Storm Spirit. We've seen issues with Storm Spirits, say at Ginting, had a problem with these tankier lineups. Maybe the Invoker would be a bit more suitable for Team Secret. It's one of those carries. Phantom Lancer, maybe. Phantom Lancer is actually pretty good here.
10 seconds remaining.
It's been more than 3 months since they last played with a Tiny on the lineup in a pro game.
5 seconds remaining.
Then again, we saw that. I think there was a game where PL had to go up against an Underlord, and he had a really tough time because so much of his damage was taken away. He just like would fight for so long, and he just couldn't bring anybody down. There was things like Shivas, they had Crimson Guard maybe.
You'd be a little bit worried about the cheese in game one. Always good to have a player like Ace on your team when he can play so many of those slightly obnoxious heroes like Brood.
Yeah,
And
got
Meepo
stuff
for
like
that
Meepo
matter.
up his sleeve, yeah.
Scar as well, you can play.
And really weird ones like Wraith King. Like, who's playing Wraith King? Nobody else. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely happy playing some of the out there stuff. He's played a lot of Slark recently as well.
I feel this might be a morph game for Secret. I mean, maybe it's like a little bit slower, but there's some synergy there, and there's not that much reach or catch for it, so pretty difficult to deal with that hero. I think if the game goes long, be very hard to win against that.
Jack, what do you think about OD here, despite what we saw in that last series? You could do an OD safe lane against the Underlord. Give yourself a different setup. Ooh.
Or you could do a Phoenix.
That's a Fada Phoenix.
It is a Fada Phoenix.
They did this at what? Genting, I think?
I feel like you're right.
Yeah, they did it against Virtus Pro.
Yeah.
I remember because Fada, I was very interested in the offlane Phoenix. It's a hero that I used to really like to run. I watched it closely, and Fada had a really rough game, but they still managed to overcome, in part because they had the Ace Lone Druid, and they had the mid-1 Invoker, so they were able to play that late game.
Yeah, it was a very late game, 56-minute game. Let's get some predictions. Jack, we'll start with you this time around.
I'm going to say I like Secret's draft. I don't think that Newbee has the best answers. I think Secret can play very aggressive across other lanes. I think Phoenix is an underrated hero in that respect, and I like Secret for game 1.
Okay, Cap?
I'm actually going to go Newbee here. I think the Secret have been trying to play a little bit more aggressive. I'm just not sure if they're 100% in their wheelhouse, and this is an aggressive lineup for sure. So,
Okay. So
Newbee. Sorry.
Okay,
Newbee.
Newbee. All right.
I even full production. My bad.
He's trolling production now as well. Well done, Cap. They've gone for 1 for Newbee and 1 on the other side for Secret. As we head into game 1, it's time to hand you over to our commentary team. Zoyori, it's all yours, man.
Thank you very much, Paul. It is a pleasure to be here in game 1 of Secret Newbee. Starts now. Trent, we've got some interesting picks. How you feeling coming into game 1?
I mean, this is what you want, right? Secret, Newbee, Titans right at the top of the DPC. Team still looking to prove themselves, though. One trying to get right to TI, and the other just trying to keep themselves in that big conversation of the very top teams. So let's get right into it.
Absolutely. So Phoenix, one of the more surprising picks, as well as Luna. I believe this is the second Luna pick of the tournament. So things are changing now that we're in the playoffs. Trent.
Yeah, very quickly, of course, but a little bit of speed. You know, these are definitely two of the slower teams. Like to play a more team fight-oriented game, heading to those later game objectives. Lots of Roche, lots of refresher shards popping around in every single one of their games.
Absolutely, my friend. Some initial wards coming down. Dire going to get a little bit of vision in the mid lane. And so far, Radiant just have 1 ward down in their jungle as we move into a quick pause.
Already trying to find a couple of those wards, but not quite right. But what do we got this time? So in terms of the drafts overall, we're dealing with that much faster pace than the typical Newbee Dota, looking much more like, of course, of the game we just had up on stage from VGJ Thunder as the Luna Viper. 2 early game focused cores, maybe try and get yourself a little bit of lead in the laning phase, run that down. The Phoenix, though, as you were mentioning, definitely not a hero we see all too often. When it used to be popular, it was set up a lot by something like Tidehunter or Faceless Void, because you have this like kind of almost like guaranteed sort of a stun idea, right? Something that's like big control, couple heroes, and then you want the follow-up with the egg. But someone else who likes to do the exact same thing is Disruptor. You want to obviously get Static Storm on top of something like a Ravage or a Treant Overgrowth or something like that. But they have to kind of work in tandem, I guess, off of like Fissures maybe might be your big goal here. So certainly a lot of burden, I would say, on Yapsor in this one to make sure that he's the one setting up for those big follow-up spells from Puppy and Fada. And I mean, that even extends over to the other cores too, when you're talking about Ace with the call downs and then just that general initial burst damage during a team fight from mid one.
Absolutely. When I think of Phoenix, I think about versatility, right? You've got huge team fight with that ultimate, but Sunray, one of the pretty good support spells. We've seen that keep people alive in team fights, turn those little tiny edges when your cores are relatively low on HP. So thoughts about Phoenix in the position 3? I think of him more as a support these days rather than a true offlaner.
He's just a hero that's always struggled with the levels, though. So getting into the core role, it's always going to feel a lot nicer with the hero. And percent-based damage, of course, a rare thing. Underlord, he has it, but it tends to be pretty handy up against him as well. So it'll be a little bit of a battle there between those 2 heroes.
Looks like a 2-1-2 going to be coming out of Newbee. Underlord starting in the off lane, and for now, Kaka going to be down there alongside. So looking to put some pressure on this gyrocopter nice and early. Secret, they could be gearing up for an aggro tri-lane. Looks like Earthshaker's back at the base, looking to block things off so they can get that lane control nice and early on.
Yeah, Shaker, Disruptor, you're going to punish this. I mean, one's the Walking Fisher, and one is a hero that basically just spams Thunderstrike for the first couple minutes of the game. So Luna already good against that. Witch Doctor, nice as well. Very aggressive 2 heroes. They can handle, honestly, they can probably handle all 3 if they want to hang out up here.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And, you know, Luna's not a hero we've seen too much in this event, as we were mentioning, and she's one that you almost have to pressure. If she she gets that early momentum, if she gets out of control, feels very hard to deal with. Of course, that aura synergized nicely with 5-man, kind of the same sort of stuff you want to do with a Naga Siren as well as an Underlord. So the pick definitely makes sense here. I guess the question is, will Secret be able to pressure this Luna enough that she doesn't get out of control?
Yep.
Also want to mention this mid lane here, Viper versus Tiny. Thoughts about that? I imagine that should be pretty Viper favorite.
Yeah, not a lot of fun, of course, but Tiny, he's got the damage, so mid one, you can do all kinds of shenanigans now with trees. Yeah, the hero's been nerfed a little bit, but it's Tiny. He can basically lane anywhere. I know, that's why the hero is still so strong right now. Yeah, but you saw the Fisher blocks as well up top from Yapsor. One of the benefits, like Clockwork has fallen out of favor, but that was one of the best parts about picking up the heroes to enable poor off-laners, and Phoenix definitely fits the bill there. Sure, survivable hero, but not necessarily the best at keeping that wave in a nice spot.
Yeah, it's turned into a 2-on-2 now. Puppy on the Disruptor is rotated to the bottom lane to support Ace, kind of reading the lanes from Newbee.
Yeah, Gyro's currently sitting at 0 CS. There we go. Snags one up there. But this is why Newbee, it's not just about the Naga Disruptor. You know, the dual lane pressures they apply with the hero has always been a real staple of why it's become so popular for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Naga and Underlord both very beefy in those early levels. We see Yapsor up to some shenanigans in the top lane, trying to mitigate this pull from Faith, or at the very least absorb some experience. Pump faking for the last hits. But nothing too out of the ordinary out of this laning phase here, Trent.
Yeah, Faith, though. I mean, that long initiation range from Fada could be our easy way to set one up here.
The Coconut bounces back and forth. He does hit Maledict on 2, but it's a nice block for the Fissure. Of course, the First Blood comes out elsewhere as we see this, but they will secure the kill onto Faith. The First Blood, however, was drawn by the Naga Siren in the bottom lane on the Gyrocopter, so Newbee find the better of that global exchange.
Yeah, certainly almost inevitable, honestly, with just the Disruptor helping you out. Gyro having to play so aggressive, just get a couple last hits here. Still at 2-1 versus the 10-5 of the Underlord as the wave comes under his tower, and he can try and catch up a bit here.
Underlord Naga is a pretty nasty duo. Just the basic synergy of the Ensnare on top of the Firestorm. You get a lot more guaranteed damage on that Underlord than you might normally expect in those early levels. And you can see it in the CS chart. Underlord right up there alongside the Luna.
Yeah, and they're just like playing in the wave. You know, they can just push it in with the Underlord, and then, you know, 4 armor on Underlord, 10 armor currently on Naga. She passed the tower, but of course she's just at 7. But
she's beefy. Double damage on Puppy might give Ace a little bit of breathing room in the lane here, as KP doesn't really want to go blow for blow with that. And looking at the mid lane, seems to be a pretty even spread. In fact, it's mid one with the advantage on the Tiny.
What a hero.
And what a hero indeed. Nerfed a little bit in that last patch, but doesn't really seem to be slowing down mid one all too much. Up top, a little more of an exchange. It is going to be a safe lane try from Newbee now as they rotate in. Fada could be the first to fall as he's forced to Icarus dive away. Yapsor trying to finish off Faith as he moves through the trees, but this Earthshaker now going to be the one in trouble. Lucent Beam bringing him low, looking for an escape path perhaps. He does have the TP, but he's going to get scouted out, and Snare will interrupt it. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Underlord also going to go down. It's Ace that gets credit for that with the level 2 Rocket Barrage.
Nice play there, just getting a little bit more aggressive with the Naga up top, trying to pressure that dual lane instead. So 2-2, pretty well even across the board on net worth as well.
Yep. We're seeing that more commonly now. As soon as those supports show in another lane, it's likely the opposition will try to put that pressure on as soon as they know the Underlord is solo. So very good for Secret, and of course, much needed recovery for Ace, not only getting the kill, but now having a little more space to farm the lane.
We'll have to see how this game starts translating as well. Underlord, a hero that's certainly not known for moving around a whole lot. So Fada might be able to give that edge over to Secret.
Yeah, a lot of action in the top lane. Kaka getting low, but they want to commit for this kill on Fada. The Maledict is on, and he will fall, but likely to be a 1-for-1. Yapsor gets the return kill, 3-3. Still a very even laning stage.
No one can seem to get an edge here. Just trading back and forth over and over. I guess you could say at least, you know, Mugi's just last hitting, but at the same time, mid one not only getting the advantage in the mid, but moving in some of those jungle camps as well.
Yeah, maybe not too surprising though, Trent. When you talk about coming to a matchup of Secret versus Newbee, it's one of these regional matchups that you don't really get to see except for on LAN, but this one, I feel like both these teams are very evenly matched from a basic skill perspective.
Yeah, they play the game pretty similar. I think at the start of the tournament, you'd have to favor Secret, but, well, Fada, he's not favored in that 3v1.
Naga Siren, pretty good against the Phoenix in that scenario. Icarus dive, not going to be able to save you, and Phoenix, very low armor. When you're stuck in place like that, you definitely go down quick. Good little bit of punishment there. But kind of as you mentioned, I guess Fada not overly concerned about farm. Really, it's the experience that the Phoenix is after in these early levels.
Yeah, just him and Yapsor. You know, you need some way to try and enable Yapsor, and in this case, it's basically sandbagging in some ways, but...
Down bottom, glimpse onto KP. The dubious duo of Ace and Puppy have a lot of damage. A nice block from Yapsor, and it'll be a 3v1 in the bottom lane to find another kill for Team Secret. Now squared up again, 4 apiece.
Yeah, it was close. I was getting worried with one team having an edge.
Yeah, this mid lane still going well for the Tiny. He's kind of transitioned into a little bit of a jungler now, but in terms of overall CS and just looking at the farm, actually Viper has a small net worth edge, but still great stuff for the Tiny as Fada once again initiated on. He'll have the Shrine. That's going to counter most of the effects of Maledict, and I think he'll be able to survive through this without too much trouble, but the pressure is real for this off-lane Phoenix.
Yeah, just struggling to get to level 6, but once he does have it, there's a decent setup just from Yapsor. You know, he might be able to Fisher and then dive in and set up an egg that's difficult for them to grab. If mid one's nearby, I can just throw on an avalanche. So they definitely have a lot of that protective AoE that you look for when you have the Phoenix egg. So although it's not going to be that big like wombo combo stuff you look for, it's going to be much more like kind of scrappy Phoenix egg fights.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if they can manage to get any damage on top of it. You are working with two very close heroes in terms of like the Naga and the Underlord might struggle to get some damage on there, but Viper and the Witch Doctor tagging away with Luna somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how this laning phase has ended up for Secret. The Tiny's rotated into the jungle, stacking and farming pretty well, sharing that experience with Disruptor, and now Fada's taken over the mid lane. Absolutely fantastic for Newbee as Luna is now in free farm heaven up top and #1 on net worth by a nice little bump. And I think for Mugi, this is what he wants out of the laning phase, just working on those early items.
Yeah, they're going to bring a few heroes up top here just to, you know, someone's probably going to show and defend this tower, so skrff wouldn't mind grabbing himself a free kill. Yapsor sees that too, though. He is wandering the long way around, does not want to take any risks here.
Uh-oh, that's a level 6 Viper. Puppy could find himself in a sticky situation, just staying out of vision. Very close call, but he will make it into the tree line, and Newbee don't have eyes. Secret posturing like they want to mount a defense here. Yapsor is already here, and the Tiny is now rotated. Puppy's going to show, and he's going to get caught by the Eclipse. Mugi finds a freebie up top. Secret will now show to try to repel, but they do lose one already.
They can hold, though. Fada is getting some levels mid. Ace is ready to rotate. He has that call down, so they can't be too over-aggressive here from Newbee. And this isn't exactly their strong suit. Not something that here, like the players of Newbee are really used to doing and performing, so have to see if they make any mistakes.
Yeah, early rotation from the Viper, and it looks like they'll take heed to your advice here, Mr. Trent Pax, and they will back up without taking undue risk. Still a lot of pressure on the tower. Down bottom, KP up to a pull to try to get a little bit of lane control back, though Ace, he sees it. He might try to contest. The call down will connect, and now the follow-up. Huge damage from the Rocket Barrage, even though the Firestorm is ticking him down. KP running low on options. Kaka on the way in. Bounty Rune picked up, but it will be the end of him. Kaka looking for a counter kill, and Snare will connect. Faith now rotating in, has a Maledict, a cast, but Kaka needs to be careful. Rocket Barrage doing so much damage here. Ace picks up the Bounty Rune himself and might be able to find it. No, it's so close, but 20 HP, the Naga survives.
See, when you play Naga every game, you perfectly get the limits of the hero, and Kaka's in there. No concern.
Yeah, I mean, in those early levels, you think of Naga as a really tanky hero because she has a decent amount of HP and so much armor, but of course the magic damage from the Rocket Barrage just cuts right through it.
Easy raindrop. No worries.
Okay, so 5 to 6. It looks like Newbee are the ones taking the advantage out of this laning phase, especially with that gyrocopter taking a tumble. Luna feeling pretty comfortable in her current position. This is sort of reminiscent of the last Luna game we saw just moments ago, Trent.
Yeah, we got auras on auras being thought about here. Mugi considering the helm, and skrff, I mean, he's already got the headdress, so I don't know if he wants to go for the hood and do a pipe or something like that, but Newbee have a game plan. You know, they came in and when you look at these two teams on paper, they're late game. You know, that's their thing. So maybe Newbee were like, okay, maybe we don't have to go full early aggression, like insane, but if we can get that edge, we know they're a little bit slower.
Yeah, Helm of the Dominator seems like a very well-suited item for Luna in the current meta, right? Get her some extra survivability. There are a lot of things you can do with that creep, stacking in the jungle, and also just the diversity of having stuns and slows and purges and whatever else you can grab from your current creep at hand. Down bottom, Newbee looking for some aggressive action, but not going to find it as Yapsor TP's out just in the nick of time.
Yeah, counter push up top, though, as they force Mugi just into the jungle, so pretty typical. These games. Not to see that. And Ace has already used the call down as well, so that's going to make it much more difficult for them to actually defend bot. And, well, KP gets glimpsed right back down. So Mugi is rotating over with the help of Faith. And again, without that call down, it might be enough for them to feel safe in this position. Fada has the 6, though, but he's being seen rotated top by wards.
Yeah, not necessarily the easiest tower for Secret to push. Still only 2 members of Newbee up here, but they could make a full rotation. Mugi does have the ultimate back available. Also that first point in the bouncing glaives.
Secret are securing this for sure, though. Everyone's up here. Fada's nearby. Virtually impossible that Mugi saves this. This is starting to get into like the death trap territory.
And
So far
Yapzor,
forward.
there it is. It's going to be an easy initiation with the call down, the follow-up damage. More than enough as mid one finds the kill on Mugi.
Yeah, I think just like Fada showing mid was enough for him to say, okay, I think they backed off.
Yeah.
But then the other 4 heroes, well, they're chilling up top. So they will trade bottom, though. And the death of Mugi, I guess, obviously still worth it for Secret, but it's not a total disaster for Newbee.
Yeah, we're seeing this more and more commonly now. Rather than teams trying to defend those towers that are in a little bit of an awkward spot, especially those tier 1s, more often they're happy just to trade and go tier 1 for tier 1, and both sides find some benefit.
Yeah, and it looks like Mugi's settling on the Mask of Madness, so heavy aggression, and then that frees sCCC up for that help.
Mid lane, glimpse onto Kaka, but
Still an egg
follow-up
here.
won't be there. And now sCCC comes in, Puppey will TP home, and Secret are forced to disengage, but no death on either side.
Yapzor just slowly getting his net worth up there. Already 1,100 gold, has some arcane boots.
Yeah.
This guy's terrifying, you know? I really thought they were going to ban the Shaker in the first phase. Just a solution a lot of teams have gone for because somehow he just does this, you know? Every game. No one else is really picking the hero, but Yapzor is extremely good at getting that early game farm. And then this support, you know, the core Shaker is that guy you think of as like really changing the game with like an early blink dagger or something, but he manages to do it just out of the 4.
Yeah, it's very true. 2-1-2 right now is his KDA. As we just observed, very low on the CS chart, but that's sort of what makes Yapzor so good at this role. He's not taking farm, he just always seems to be in the right place at the right time to try and set up those plays. Helm of the Dominator now completed on Viper, so curious if Newbee are actually going to go double HOD.
No, he's masking. He's good.
Okay.
The
Luna's gone mass, so they've switched it up. Now Song of the Siren comes out mid as they disengage.
Now, can they counter with the egg is the question, you know? Is it worth it?
It's going to be
that Song's
tough.
down, we can
Ace
just kind of aim into
is
this.
on the way on the back, but there's the glimpse. They really want this Viper, and with the gyrocopter here, they might just have enough damage. Toss from the Tiny helps secure the kill, and Secret will back up with one more kill under their belt.
And almost more importantly, just the cooldown of Song. Feels so much stronger pushing in that mid tower now if they want to make a commitment there. And without that early aggression or an early lead from Newbee, you start to kind of feel this Underlord. It's like, oh, what am I doing? Like, KP doesn't get to play with his team all that much. He's just kind of pushing out waves on the side, trying to keep them in some sort of an even game. But even just the Phoenix being in all these fights has felt a little more effective.
Absolutely. It looks like the Underlord gearing up towards a pipe. Definitely a great game for it. Huge magic damage on Secret, so no complaints about that item build there. And on the side of Secret, mid one seems to be going straight for the Shadow Blade, and he's actually just got it picked up, just needs a turn with the Courier or heading back to the base. But really good timing on this Shadow Blade here.
Yeah, he can start roaming around looking for kills. Yapzor can show up maybe to finish them off, or he can just camp the wave now because there's going to be this threat of the Tiny across the map, so you don't necessarily need like a roaming partner for the Tiny because the burst is so brutal. And KP's galloping his way to the side shop though.
Yeah, Dire Ancients, big stack for the Luna. I think at least a triple stack here, so Mugi's farm continuing to accelerate and maintaining that edge for Newbee. Looks like they've got another big stack on the other side in the Dire jungle.
Slowly just waiting down here. Not going to find anything, though. Oh, that ward from Newbee, though, spying the rotation of Puppey. So they understand that Secret wants to make some sort of a play down bottom. They're going to try and counter with Kaka, but again, he has no Song right now.
Needs to be a little careful. Puppey will get eyes now, and Snare comes out first, and the follow-up from Newbee, but Static Storm Kinetic Field is already gone. Puppey could be the first casualty, but no, it's the other way. It's actually KP, then Mugi. Mid one and Fada finding both those kills. Kaka now in deep. Ace will come in with a rocket barrage, and it's a 3-0. Secret pulling to the lead.
Yeah, Mugi silenced up at a very inopportune moment. You know, maybe there's a chance for an ulti, might make some kind of a play, but had to go for that raw physical damage, and they will end up getting a tier 1 mid out of it.
Yeah, small edge for Newbee, but now sCCC glimpsed back, the Echo Slam, and they will find 2 in the mid. It's a full 5-man wipe.
I think we can call that worth it. See?
Yeah. All right, well, a tower down, but also a team fight won, and now that gyrocopter vying for the first place in terms of net worth. Also grabbing that siege creep there. Helm of the Dominator, thank you.
Oh, it's YapzOr's time. He's about to have that Blink Dagger. And when they're just already starting to get this control of the game, he's going to be able to set up a nice little play for Fada here, who has the Midas and is doing the old school build of just going Midas straight to Shivas.
Down bottom, mid one initiates onto the Underlord. That's the Shadow Blade, and now the Sunray from Fada just ticks him down. It's another pickup for Secret. Mid one now securing an unstoppable streak.
Yeah, and that's only level 2 as well, right? Just percent base though, so good against Underlord.
Yeah, especially good for just trying to finish people off as they run away. A lot of range on that Sunray, hard to get away from.
1,400 damage from the Tiny in that, just
already
instantaneous burst.
A Midas as well on the Phoenix. Of course, a very core item on this hero. So much about experience. You want to get to that level 3 egg pretty much as quickly as you can. Makes all the difference in those team fights. Actually, even close to the level 2 egg.
But you look at all these fights and how things have been going, and you're like, but how are they only up 1K? What's happening? Well, Moogie's farm. You know, he's hitting these Ancients. He is staying up there at the current moment. He's going to have another big stack here with a couple Prowlers and Dragons. This is the money stack.
Absolutely.
And Faith wants in on some of this.
Newbee are doing a really good job managing their economy this game and setting up Moogie for success. Luna moving into as Dragonlance up next, and of course a BKB will need to come out probably earlier rather than later this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tough one, but KP has the hood, so maybe feeling like he might be able to offer something in an engagement if it bursts out there, if he can manage to get himself to the pipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also those dire supports farming pretty well. We've been praising YapzOr for his farm, but Naga Siren not that far behind him. Was wondering if maybe she'd be pulling up that gold for Radiance, but looks like Glimmer Cape is the item choice up next.
Glimmer on her, and then Glimmer on Faith as well with the Witch Doctor. Of course, very common item on him, but it won't help them do Roche at all. Maybe they don't need the Medallion, though, just because they have the Underlord percent base damage. They have the Luna, the Viper, so no one really needs to go for that. They're just going to go that double defensive up against that heavy magic damage. There's no question. I mean, we've got all 5 heroes on Secret are pumping out plenty of magic damage. So
yeah, you can't underestimate the power of Firestorm against Roche. Definitely one of the most effective spells in the game at taking out the big guy nice and quick. And, you know, similarly to Newbee, Secret are doing a great job stacking themselves. Gyrocopter and Luna, 2 of the better cores for taking out those big stacks, and well, I guess mid one not going to be any slouch in that regard either.
I'd like to see him get another kill, though. Let's rock and roll here. He's looking up towards that Silver Edge. Current moment, though, of course, you know what's helpful up against magic heroes would be Corrosive Skin, that magic resistance. Why don't we just get rid of that?
That's very true.
Pop him instantaneously.
I guess not that often you see Tinies go right for that Silver Edge without any other kind of core item. It becomes a natural upgrade at some point, but Viper, this is the stage of the game where he's very beefy, especially against the sort of lineup they have that's so magic damage based at this stage. I think it's a really smart choice.
This is his time. This is when Viper wants to be king of the jungle.
And if you can shut him down now, then you don't have to worry about the late game.
It's Viper. You know, win lane, lose game. That kind of a hero. Now, of course, much different hero these days. Has some better options. But still, that premise definitely a little bit intact.
Yeah.
So there it is, ready to go.
Yeah, this mid-game is really quite a downtrend, but as you look at that gold graph, it is all Secret all day. Of course, they did pick up that team fight, but the last few minutes haven't really had that many kills, and they are just finding a lot more efficiency around the map.
Yeah, when you get a Midas Phoenix, you have a very greedy 4, I would say, in the Shaker too. Like, you're fine. You can chill out, and you can see YapzOr as well going for that Aether Limbs. We've seen this plenty of times up against Naga Siren, just increasing the range of your Fisher to ensure that you're going to be effective during the song, canceling out TPs if it's defensive, or canceling out combinations if it's an offensive attempt onto your own teammates.
Now here we go. Smoke rotation now from Secret, not scouted out by Newbee. They may get caught unaware. Mid one with the Shadow Blade will lead the charge, and it's now a Silver Edge. They're going to go right for the Viper. The follow-up is there, but the Naga Siren does break things up. She's got the Song of the Siren. Can they set this up? KP with the Pit of Malice, but a huge dunk from YapzOr connects on 3. The Eclipse turns, and it's actually mid one that falls second, and then Ace third. It's a 1 for 3. Make it 4 as Newbee clean up Secret.
Well, they got the Viper. That's true. I thought YapzOr had to cancel the song. He was so close. But somehow, just in time, they pull it off, and that's Newbee in a nutshell. You saw it with complexity. It's like the whole game, you're like, oh, they're losing. Oh, this doesn't look good. And then you wait for KP to come along with that Tidehunter. Now it's Kaka in this game with the Song of the Siren. Just almost into level 12 as well, so we're going to lose another 40 seconds off that cooldown. And that's where every fight, you're just so worried about that happening to you.
Yeah, And straight into the Roche pit at 20 minutes. He will fall. Aegis of the Immortal ends up in the hands of Mugi's Luna. No surprise there with a BKB queued up next. We've got a replay to take a look at. Mid one looked like a great initiation from Secret, but look at the positioning of the Naga just on the other side of the tree line. Very hard to find.
Hits too.
YapzOr had the right idea, but just half a second too late. The Underlord with a beautiful Pit of Malice. It looked like a great dunk from YapzOr to break up the fight, but since Mugi already had the Eclipse ready, it just destroyed the Earthshaker the other way.
Yep. Not caught out with the silence this time. I just fought his face like, I just want to play some Phoenix Dota here, but they will get a return kill. His faith does go down here.
It helps. It's a little pick-me-up for mid one, but still Newbee maintaining this lead. Also Pipe now out on the Underlord, so everyone on Newbee going to be just a little more survivable against this magical burst in the following team fights. Yule's Scepter up next for the KP Underlord.
Trying to cancel out any plays from Fada. See him diving in. Can also like precast it on the Shaker as well. A couple different nice options for it. Save yourself inside the Static Storm. Very nice choice. As well as movement speed's always okay. But Kaka does have that Glimmer Cape roaming on in here.
They do dust mid one. The smoke gets broken, thinking maybe the Shadow Blade is closer. Now the turn the other way. Puppey with a Static Storm kinetic field. They want Kaka. But the Phoenix, caught from the Icarus dive, interrupted by the Luna. He gets off the egg.
They have to defend it.
And now they are going to do that indeed. The combo will finish off the Aegis. Viper gets glimpsed back into the fight, and it looks like Secret might be able to take this. The taxi service gets queued up. KP trying to make the retreat, but he'll cancel it. Newbee think they can take this. Mid one's going to be the next to fall as Faith channels a huge backlord on the back line. Fada will survive as a nice fissure from YapzOr comes out. 1 for 1. It's a relatively even exchange as both sides only lose their mid, but a lot of cooldowns used.
Man, I thought that was going to go way worse for Newbee. That looked perfect. They defended the egg. It went off. Everyone was stunned. They started looking like they were going to bail out, but they, of course, did get the Aegis, so that does make it more difficult for Newbee to press any sort of an advantage at the current moment. And we still have the Echo Slam, too, as you can see YapzOr posturing here as his teammates return for the defense. Scouted out by Kaka on the back, though, with that illusion. And that's going to give the vision for Puppey. Which means it might not be a glimpse chase.
Will Secret pursue Sunray as well as the homing missile chasing out, but it seems Newbee are not going to press their luck, and they will just make the retreat and head back to friendly territory.
That's such a great play by Kaka, though. Wrapping with the illusion, making sure Puppey can't pull one back, can't force you to engage, because right now they do not want to fight necessarily in that moment. But
are they actually going to back up? It could be a fake back from Newbee. They go back in onto Ace. The gyrocopter completely isolated. Eclipse flying through. Maledict will probably find this kill, and the Underlord ensures it with the Pit of Malice. Nicely done.
Just as they pull back, the song comes back up, and they say, hey, we can try something. If it doesn't go well, we'll sing. We'll get out of here, but we might get ourselves a free pick, and back towards the tower we go. But once more, we still have mid one. There's sneaky initiations as well as the Echo Slam from YapzOr.
Definitely still options for Secret. Also, that Static Storm ready to rock. Sentry Ward comes down for Newbee, so they can't get wrapped on by mid one. He'll have to be very careful here. If the Tiny gets caught, this could be disastrous. KP in the front lines on that tanky Underlord, but is he tanky enough? He gets broken. Big damage comes his way, and it's mid one that finds the kill. Static Storm deployed, but well worth it as they do defend this tower.
Looks like they'll be able to sneak themselves away, though. Even with a couple wards down here, they didn't have the glimpse ready in time.
23 minutes in, Trent, a pretty even game. The gold lead, less than 1,000 for now in Newbee's favor. That'll be a gem picked up by the Witch Doctor, so it seems they do want to maintain map control and try to limit some of Secret's vision now.
Definitely feels like it's going to be the BKBs that are the next thing to come out in this game and kind of change the pace. We have the 10-second left on Mugi. We have one being constructed on Ace currently, and he's almost there as well. So maybe both teams want to relax a little bit before that's up. Fata with the Shiva's Guard would be okay with pressing a little bit forward, though.
Wow, full Shiva's completed on Fada. Pretty impressive farm for this Phoenix. I guess
90 GPM, Midas.
It's true, it adds up. I mean, you think of Underlord as a pretty good farmer in terms of off lanes because of the nature of Firestorm, how easily you can push waves, clear stacks, all that kind of stuff. But Phoenix actually ahead of him right now, despite the team not really being far ahead. It looks like Secret have just grabbed that net worth edge, but this game is so close right now.
Yeah, one thing is their catch is really weak. I mean, they're just watching mid one farm Ancients under a ward, and they can't really do much about it. You know, the range of song initiation isn't that fantastic, and with the Underlord as your offlaner, not picking up some forward that can get that long range initiation like a Clockwork or something, they can't really grab anyone. They definitely have those options on Secret. If you catch someone a little bit out like that with the Shaker or the Disruptor, even the Phoenix or the Tiny. So this 5-man Dota from Newbee, it's very effective against the heroes on Secret. And what else is, you know, this is kind of Newbee's Dota. So they're pretty happy to play like this. This is kind of the Chinese Dota in general, you know?
Yeah, the BKB is also now picked up by Gyro, so not too much Magic immunity, but both sides have it on their position 1 cores, so both sides may be a little bit more eager to take a fight right now. It'll be Secret that choose to smoke with Ace, mid 1, and Puppy. They'll rotate through the mid as Yapzor looks to initiate, but won't quite find it.
Yeah, with him being spotted, though, they understand where the smoke was going, so probably knowing their top tower is going to be punished, they'll likely just get the trade in the bottom lane.
I like this item build from Naga as well. Kaka has the Aghanim Scepter queued up. Still a ways away, but can potentially make that ultimate even more of a game changer if you pop it at the right time. Massive AoE healing for your whole team.
Yeah, better in this game than most of Newbee's games, I would say, simply because they're not running this with the Disruptor. They're not really always going for that big song initiation. It's more about the song breakup. And the other factor is that you have this Phoenix Egg that's occurring sometimes during the song, so there's still damage coming into your team, and that's going to be fine. You just you sing it up, everyone gets healed during the whole Phoenix Egg, and should be okay as it comes out. But that is a long ways away, of course.
Yep. Now Viper working on the BKB and pretty darn close himself. Actually just picked up the recipe. So that'll be the 3rd bout of Magic immunity as Kaka gets glimpsed back and the TP up top.
It's okay. Now KP can come in. That was just a bait. They actually want KP here, just so we can Firestorm it. It's actually true. This is way better situation. If that was intentional, all credit to them.
Well, Puppy trying to TP out. Will get interrupted by KP's Yule Scepter. Comes back down into the Pit of Malice.
Yeah, Secret see this play. They know that they're all wrapping.
Yeah, they are just going to leave Puppy high and dry. Smoked up. Kaka's on his way in. There should be a pretty easy ensnare to set up this kill. Static Storm, Kinetic Field deployed. Puppy doing everything he can to buy time and maybe survive. But no, the Cavalry's here, and that will be the end of the Disruptor. But from the Secret perspective, hey, it's just your position 5. Better than losing more.
And not too shabby.
Butterfly up next for Luna. She's got the Eagle Song and farming very quickly. She's going to have it in just another minute, Trent.
Well, I can tell you, Ace, he's going to call Jinx because he wants one too. So they can both be irritated at missing their right clicks.
All right, definitely a game where MKB will get a little bit more priority in the item list as the tier 2 up top gets pushed in by Newbee. Right now, Secret not really moving like they want to mount a defense.
Not moving as fast as Newbee either. I mean, from that whole top, they kind of knew exactly what they were doing. They had that vision inside the dire jungle. You knew where Newbee was going, and Secret just say, I don't think we can do anything about this, guys. They have the song. We don't have Disruptor. Like, we got to give this up. And this is that part of the map you really want the good vision over for the Roche fit. Kaka got to find Yapzor. Stops any chance of a blink there with the Riptide.
Beautifully done. It's a good use to initiate the Song of the Siren to interrupt the TP. They really want this kill on Yapzor, and they will find it. Costs them a cooldown, but hey, it's a level 2 Song of the Siren, so a little bit shorter.
But they get a little unlucky because that Roche spawn's going to be back up before the song is. So there's a chance that could have an impact. Yapzor will be here in time, though.
Okay. All right. A very tight timing window to hit, but definitely some possibilities there, Trent, no doubt.
Got to be a little bit more cautious about spending both the net and the Lucent Beam next time, it seems.
So there is the Butterfly on Luna, and Gyrocopters actually isn't that far away either. He's going to clear out another set of Ancients. Still has some farming to do, but just a few more minutes, and this Gyro will have some movement speed and evasion for himself.
Yeah, mid one has really been leapfrog, though. You know, you go for that early Silver Edge, and you don't get a lot of kills, and then it's just like, uh-oh, like, what do we do now? I mean, overall, he's got great. I mean, 10, 2, and 1, sure. But in terms of creating that threat across the map with the Silver Edge, he certainly hasn't accelerated the same way as like a lot of farming items would have. But likely part of the plan is they try and elevate Ace and both Fada up to kind of that same level. Very balanced trio here.
Yeah, Tiny moving into the Sanj and Yasha next. Not an item you always see on Tiny. I think some players sort of regard SNY or Shadow Blade is the ultimate choice, but here mid one just going for a little more of a right-click based Tiny. Will scale very nicely, but in the interim doesn't really help his burst damage.
For now, he's just relegated to pushing out some waves, and Newbee continue their always 5-man. Roche has been spotted. 25 more seconds till the song is up, but with current posturing, no way Secret getting an advantage there.
KP goes for the setup onto Gyrocopter, and it'll just push him back. No real follow-up there, but Yule's into Pit of Malice. Definitely a nice combo to start off a fight. Puppy with that Force Staff also keeping Ace nice and safe. Roshan, maybe the idea for Newbee here. They're just going to head right into the pit. Secret obviously have the option to contest, but they're right on top of a ward right now. Even if they smoke and start making the movement, Newbee will know exactly when they're coming and how fast.
Yeah, they're not quite fast enough here, so it's a little bit awkward for KP and Kaka, but there we go. They don't get there in time.
All right, Moogie the one to grab the Aegis, and Cheese now secured by the Viper, as of course that was Roche number 2 at the 30-minute mark. 17-14, still a very small lead for Newbee. Feels like they're in the driver's seat of this game, but Secret are hanging in there and still farming very nicely.
It's one fight. It's really nothing, honestly. Like, when you look at these heroes, Shaker, Phoenix, even just Tiny Disruptor, you know, there's tons of damage, tons of control that you can put on a big AoE, so one little flub by Newbee, and they can easily be down like 4 or 5K.
Yeah, but it could also go the other way. This Luna big here trend, if it could be now used by Moogie as he just lays into the tower, forces out the glyph. Newbee have to be happy with that.
He's popped his BKB before the Aegis, though. Very aggressive stance, but maybe a chance for him to capitalize. But with no Static Storm, can be difficult. Pressure really on Yapzor and Fada on this one.
And Moogie now sieging from the low ground, trying to play this safe, knowing there's no magic immunity.
They can't even win low down.
Doing pretty good damage, but Glimmer Cape is there, and if Moogie throws away the Aegis for this tier 3 tower, that'll open up shrines, and I think Newbee will still regard that as a win. Another 25 seconds until this Tiny comes back up, the tier 3 falls, and Newbee want more. They say, these are barracks open, we've got 20 seconds, let's do this, boys.
Not one Glimmer Cape, but 2 Glimmer Capes. How can you kill this Luna?
Yeah, the aura on the Luna making this siege so much easier. They will commit for the barracks. Moogie still with the Aegis in tow.
No, the blink got canceled.
He bits the stun. Oh,
the illusion.
No. They're going to lose the Aegis, but they will get Yapzor in exchange. Newbee are in such a great spot all of a sudden. Oh, my, Trent.
Oh, we're going to have to see who canceled that, but all the credit.
Small glimpse onto Moogie. Not going to do a hell of a lot.
They can't get too, don't go too crazy right now.
Yeah,
you have lost the Aegis.
This is Newbee's wheelhouse, though, Trent. They are so good at these kind of fake back scenarios. Secret are so nervous to leave their base right now, and Newbee know this. With a 4v5, they're assuming there's no buyback on this Earthshaker, and even if he was, there's no Echo. The Glimmer Capes coming in handy so much here.
Yeah, but the wave, it's still in the mid lane. If they can just clear with that mid, there's still no creeps top. Oh, Secret pull one back, but Fada still has pipe. Or sorry, KP still has his pipe to like activate here, so not so much of an issue.
Yeah. All right. So with that, Newbee do finally retreat, perhaps grabbing the shrine on the way. Yeah, they sure will. And now we see a pretty sizable lead, definitely the biggest lead we've seen this game. So here we go. Here's the replay. What was it that stopped that blink dagger from Yapzor?
Great question.
It sure is. So earlier part of the fight, it's kind of a slow siege from Newbee. They do it quite well. Oh, it's just the glaive.
That one glaive.
That one glaive. Oh my, that's so heartbreaking.
Oh, that is brutal.
That would have been such a setup that they probably could have followed up with.
That was calculated by Moogie. Let's be honest here. Obviously, he knew that Shaker would become visible at that exact moment. So.
Well, some big items picked up following that fight. Moogie now with a full Satanic, so much more sustainability there. And on the other side, there is an MKB on the Gyrocopter. So now Ace doing a lot more damage. It will open up some possibilities.
Too. Hello, Moogie.
And Moogie going to pop the BKB before the stun connects, and maybe they can turn this the other way. There is an Eclipse available, but will he use it here? Yapzor showing off that Shadow Amulet. SCCC on the high ground. Actually goes in onto the Tiny. Ace forced to pop his BKB as he presses forward, but on the backside, this Tiny's been isolated, and Newbee are going to bring him down. The Golem with the additional stun to make it all the easier. Yapzor will TP out as he makes it to the tree line, and the rest of Secret do complete the Exodus.
Man, KP's Yule Scepter has come in handy so many times. Just there again, cancel the TP, make sure there's no free getaway there.
It's the setup. So now Newbee grouped up as 5 in the bottom lane. They're going to take out this last outer tower. It is this tier 2, already pretty low on HP. And we might see another high ground siege, possibly thinking if Tiny's got the buyback, let's force it. If he doesn't, we're going high ground.
They haven't found that big play. No giant egg, no big Shivas across 5 heroes. I mean, there's a Veil here too with the Earthshaker. There's still that chance they wipe them all, but you've lost so much already at this point. They need several fights to get back into this one. Crimson Guard delivered as well. The reason why we see this Underlord up against the Gyro so much.
And the Naga Siren, Aghanim Scepter. Look at the positioning from Kaka, staying so far back. And Secret know this. KP, the target of choice. Kaka does not want to use the ultimate for this. They're going to Glimmer Cape him. He'll heal back up, and KP is actually going to be just fine.
Okay, that means there's no disengage in that sense, so they're just going to get out. Oh, don't leave Moogie. Uh-oh. There's...
Okay, that was close. The glimpse, not going to bring him back.
Wow, I definitely thought Moogie's about to get grabbed.
Yeah.
All right, easy.
So 17-17.
Oh, he popped his BKB.
Oh, yeah,
that would
obviously.
explain it.
The magic immunity, quite good
Good
against
item,
glimpse.
I hear.
So anyhow, Newbee's still relatively happy with that, though. They're at this point where they've got the lead, and all they need to do is hang on to it, control the map, continue farming effectively, and I think maybe Newbee just looking to wait for the next Roche. It is going to be Roche 3, so that means Refresher Shard is coming. This is the time when you just want to reset, be patient, and not throw this lead away.
Yeah, and you look at that net worth chart, though, and it's awfully green. In terms of, sorry, my mistake, the net worth, the other chart with the 5 heroes. That one, very green. There's a lot of secret heroes up there.
Absolutely.
It's Moogie, but then it's a lot of secret heroes.
Yeah, the Gyrocopter is still farming very well, and the Phoenix is farming impressively well. I mean, Fada has now overtaken the Tiny. I guess Mid-1 has been the victim of a couple of these gank attempts, but he's even picked up Akaya now to try to do a little bit of extra damage when those big team fights do break out. Aghanim Scepter going to be coming up next on the Phoenix. A huge reset tool if he can grab it.
Newbee looking to close this one out here. He's playing a bit aggressive, but Faith wanting to go a little bit further than SCC.
Probably not going to find much with the smoke rotation. How far off of Roche are we, Trent? Pretty far. So we'll see what the timer looks like in about a minute and a half. So still plenty of time to sit back, farm, find that next round of core items. Puppey does have an Aghanim Scepter queued up on the Disruptor. A game-changing item, but oh so far away.
I love the auras on Newbee. They look like they're doing one of those quests from the Battle Pass right now. I mean, we're going for the 37-minute drums on Faith after just getting his Solar Crest as well. So they're ready to buff somebody up when they go for the last 2 racks.
They've got the Shivas coming out on KP. The only thing they're lacking is basically a Vlad's offering.
Yeah, perfect. We'll be in there.
Down bottom, Yapzor maybe scouted out. He's just going to blink into the tree line and TP, but Song of the Siren. Will they be able to find him? Kaka moves into the tree lines, and it looks like this will be another freebie on the Earthshaker. He does what he can. Ace is also going to get picked off by Moogie, making the retreat, and it's 2 down for Secret, just like that. What happened?
I mean, Moogie's just slaying down there. Takes out Ace. BKB was used. Could not fight him. That Satanic is just... Whew.
Well, and, Trent, this went from, okay, it's not that bad for Secret, to Newbee are looking to try to head up to the high ground if they can. They won't have a creep wave, so this timing window rather tight. There is also a buyback available on the Gyrocopter, so probably won't be able to capitalize too much off that set of kills, but does push them just a little bit further in the lead in terms of economy. BKB on the way for Tiny, and Luna, what was that queued up? Was that a nullifier?
Currently just the Relic, but I don't know, maybe he'll do the same thing. Maybe he's inspired from last game. Just get a Rapier.
Quite possibly.
If that Aegis becomes theirs, you never know. But of course, I do agree. I think Nullifier would be a fine replacement for the Dragonlance.
Well, we'll see. Moogie with a lot of gold stockpiled. He will have pick of the litter. So Gyrocopter down for 10. Definitely does not want to buy back here. They will be forced to glyph earlier than planned. KP gets broken. Big burst damage coming his way. Static Storm, Kinetic Field. But Yule's Scepter goes off, and now Song of the Siren. Just watch the heal. There's that Aghanims from Kaka, and KP right back to full HP. Moogie jumps in. BKB eclipse. Puppey falls. Mid-1 in trouble next. He's down as well. No buybacks on either. And Secret could be in big trouble in game 1, Trent. Now the counter initiation. The egg comes in. Big damage onto Luna. But hey, they've got the taxi service. KP trying to take him home, and it'll go.
Again. Oh, Yapzor just cannot find a dunk this game.
Oh, my. Heartbreaking for Secret. So bottom lane of Barracks does stay standing. The tier 3 falls.
I mean, credit, they held with just 3 heroes.
That's true.
It's impressive in itself, but they're going to come back a lot stronger. And yeah, Moogie, he is indeed inspired. He really wants that Aegis, and he wants a Rapier right after.
Oh, it's not a bad strategy. Let's take a look at the replay here. So, again, what stopped Yapzor this time, Trent?
I love how they go for the break, and then all this damage, and then Kaka's like, hey, this Aghanims is probably pretty good. I mean, this was before he even has the 20 HP regen on KP. In fact, he didn't even go for it. He went for the attack speed. They're balling out of control so hard right now, but...
Yeah, and it's just a great counter initiation from Moogie as he jumps in. Not much mid-1 can do as even the Death Ward flies. Let's keep our eye on Yapzor in the back line here. Okay, never mind. As Barracks are going down, Newbee have come back into the base. Tiny just about to respawn, but this will be the bottom lane of Barracks. So they did hold during that last fight, Trent, but kind of all for nothing in the end.
Yeah, just come right back. I mean, especially once the dunk gets missed, right? Because then it's just like, all right, they don't have dunk. We can just run on back, and he's still not going to have it. And it'll be another 50 seconds before that is even the case.
Well,
oh, Moogie, he's lurking. He's
on
heading
the
over
other
there.
side,
Is it time?
It's also Roche.
Oh, it's time, baby. We got the rapier.
It's a rapier.
In we go.
It feels so safe. You know, normally it's that item. We're so far behind. It's our Hail Mary to get back into this game. But Newbee are doing it the other way. We're so far ahead. We can secure Roche. We are ready to close this one out. Roche falling very quickly. Of course, the Aegis gets picked up by Moogie.
He wants to catch somebody outside the base. He's going to be correct here, but they find him first.
Oh, no. He just gets a little too aggressive. Static Storm comes, so no song to reset. And Newbee might need to be a little more patient now. 70 seconds till that Naga Siren respawns.
Terrifying. That could have been the end of the game right there, but they're actually sneaking here as well.
Newbee are going in for more. Oh, the Pit of Malice on 2. They go into the egg, but Moogie pops the BKB. He's going to try to finish off the Phoenix, and they will. Gyrocopter and the Yapzor both go down. Buybacks coming from only Fada. Gyro does have it for now, but it looks like Newbee are going for the death push. They won't have Yapzor. He has the ultimate, but no buyback. In the grave for 45 seconds. Newbee just want to end this. The Rapier Luna destroys the tier 4 so quickly as now the throne is exposed. This could be the final fight. Can Secret make this hold? They kill Faith first, but an instant buyback as Moogie just stays focused on the throne. Remember, if they kill him once, he's coming back to life. Ace goes down again. It's a dieback for him. KP channels the ultimate, but it's Newbee's game all day. It's GG, and they go up 1-0 with Secret now 1 game away from elimination.
It really looks like Newbee came into this one with a plan. They said, we know how Secret play, we know how we play. Maybe it's time we adjust that just a little bit and try and throw them off. And I think they did.
Where has Luna been this whole tournament, Trent? She went from completely ignored to looking unstoppable in back-to-back games.
I mean, she's supposed to be the poor man's Gyro, isn't that right? You know,
yeah.
and Gyro's banned, Gyro's picked. I guess we're stuck with Luna. She seems all right.
She seems all right, especially when you execute like that. I mean, it's amazing how we've seen rapiers be this recovery tool, and now it's like they are the aggressive tool. It's that we're going to close this out with the Divine.
They got to be careful, though. You know, Secret, they wanted straight out of the DPC. They might be straight out of this best of 3.
Absolutely.
If they don't fix it.
Wow, an exciting game 1, but with that, we're going to throw it right back to the panel to see what our analysts think.
Indeed, very good performance indeed. We'll see whether they do go out of the DPC or stay straight in the DPC. Our panel members are ready to give you their reactions to game number 1. Cap, what did they do well in game 1, Newbee?
I think that Newbee set up a draft that was very detrimental to a Gyrocopter. I think they showed the fact that they like this Underlord before against the Gyrocopter. The Viper was shown in the previous series and its effectiveness against that hero and being able to limit the amount of magic damage that you can really throw out there. In the end, it felt like, despite Secret were playing very well in the early game and they were getting lots of kills, Newbee were always making sure that none of their objectives were taken because Team Secret really didn't have that hero.
Jack?
Secrets, again, they tend to emphasize a lot of synergy in the drafts. Clearly a bit of a combo lineup this time, but we wondered if the weakness in the lanes might be an issue. And so talking about this team is often behind the laning stage, I think that made things much more difficult for them. Though they did fight their way back into the game, they had less margin for error to execute these fights. I mean, after that, you see, like, very early laning phase, they have the Tiny up against the Viper, you have the Phoenix in a dual lane, and then finally bottom a bit tough against an Underlord with help. So that lane phase, I think, just they didn't manage to snowball and get those combos at crucial times, because you want to get to a point where when you end a fight with a combo, you win it decisively and you can take objectives afterwards. Never really reached that point.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw a fight earlier where they put everything they had into a Viper, but at the same time, hey, guess what? Underlord's pushing your tier 2 bottom lane. They have the top lane pushed in at the same time. This was something that Newbee was really good at doing. I kept an eye on their map control because I wanted to know how they managed to keep another important part of the game was their ancient stacks. They managed to make sure that was never really interrupted. They got stack after stack up. up, and it's because their mid tower did not die until the 17-minute mark, I think. So that really helps protect a lot of your map control and prevent Secret from being able to run at you and be able to invade your jungle, and just prevents, it really prolongs the game quite a bit. And it felt like by like 20 minutes, despite the fact that Secret was getting good fights in, sometimes back-to-back, where they would win a fight at bottom lane and rotate to mid to try and stop their mid tower from being taken. They would get another 2 kills there. The net worth always said Newbee is within striking distance of being able to get out of control in their Luna. You are on a limited amount of time if you're Secret, and you're just not doing enough. And I think the biggest thing is that they just couldn't take objectives after winning fights, whether because of the split push or whether because their heroes were too slow at it.
Definitely a good early game from Secret, but I guess some people look back at this and go, Phoenix, offlane, that didn't work. But actually, that wasn't really a problem in this game, was it?
I think it can be a little bit dissected further and say that it wasn't the primary reason that they lost the game. The pure damage of the Phoenix actually really helped against the Underlord a number of times, made him a much squishier hero. It provided a lot of team fight potential as well. I think the bigger problem for the draft in Secret was not the Phoenix, but rather the early pick of the Gyrocopter and how we're seeing teams address this hero. It was one of the heroes of the tournament just previously at Katowice. It's here again in the group stage, and teams are beginning to figure out what we need to do drafting-wise to address this very strong 1-2 pickup.
Yeah, I mean, that's a key point, isn't it, of this tournament, Jack, is that the Gyro has been such a popular pick and a popular ban. Some teams have made it work picking it in the first 2 and others haven't. Why is such the disparity between the two? Why is it not winning everything when it gets picked, and why is it not losing everything?
Well, it depends on the context in which it's used. Again, you pick this hero early because you can play it in slightly different ways or different lanes as well. And what you're seeing in some of these games, they will ban some of the answers to this hero, maybe an OD, maybe Terrorblade, things that they're afraid of, but they may not have other answers to address it either. So in this game also, I want to credit some of the itemization. I like the Aghanim Scepter a lot on Kaka. It gave them a kind of a second wind in some of these fights. If you use that as kind of a combo breaker, then it's really hard for the combos to really do anything in this game. So I want to credit how they played from the lane and then how they itemized and took their fights after that.
Hey, I want to tackle something that you talked about in the beginning of this series. SCC, he is the Reaper of Farm. He's not the one who actually creates it for his team. I feel like SCC actually played a really great sacrificial Viper in this game. There was many times where, say, you're talking about a combo breaker where they baited the Viper out in the mid lane. They knew Secret wanted to be able to keep being aggressive. They had the side lanes pushed in. No one was showing. It was pretty obvious tell that, hey, Secret's coming for anybody that shows on the map. They want to kill something. They bait out the Viper. SCC embraces his death. He goes ahead, they try and combo him down. Don't get him, that's okay. They throw down the Naga Siren Sleep. SCC stands there, gets off his Viper Strike. He may die to the Tiny, but he wins his team the team fight by putting himself in that position.
Let's take a look at the scoreboard and show you how things shook up in game number 1 of our second quarter-final. Here it is. And I guess from a scoreboard point of view, you look at that and go, it was a fairly close game, fairly even game, but it doesn't really tell the full story. Good game from mid 1, though, on the Tiny, 11-5-1. From him, and as we talked about earlier on, Jack, SEC, when you look at that 6-4-9, you'd look at that and go, well, that's a disappointing game. But as Cap's already pointed out, it was actually a very good game from him.
Yeah, gotta credit him. And
didn't do anything flashy, Jack. You must be happy.
You gotta look at how the team's been using him lately. You know, these DKs, these Vipers, these Death Prophets, they've clearly wanted his role to change a little bit within this team, and you can see he adapted to that and did his job pretty well this game.
Yeah. The commentators said in the middle of that, I think Trent made a point of saying, you know, this Luna, where's it been? How have we not seen it for a while? And yet it's come back and it's looked great in a couple of games already.
I was thinking about this in the last series. I feel like it is an interesting matchup 1-to-1 against the Gyrocopter because they fulfill similar roles, right? They both have a mass attack right-click in the Bouncing Glaives or the Flat Cannon. They both have really big team fight ultimates in the Eclipse, and then Gyrocopter just lays down a lot, both with Rocket Barrage and others. So I think they are very similar in that regard, and Luna's timings are slower, but she hits that mid to late game a whole lot harder and hits some of those team fights even harder too, with the Eclipse being pretty critical and just being able to burst down certain heroes. So I actually like the concept that teams are running with it right now. I think that it is definitely a valid core that has been overlooked in the past.
We're going to take a look at the Telecom MVP, but who was your MVP, Jack? Was it Moogie?
I think Kaka played really well this game. I want to give him a lot of credit as well. Again, being in the right spot to disrupt fights, the roaming early on, picking his spots, being in the right lanes to kind of apply a lot of pressure to Secret and slow down them reaching that combo phase of their lineup. I think Kaka did a tremendous job this game.
Kaka as well as KP is another one that I would point to that I think played pretty well. Their impact in the game is a little bit more ephemeral in the regards that they're not going to be the ones dishing out a lot of damage, but what they did is slow down a lot of the aggression of Team Secret. KP with his split pushing, always willing to sacrifice himself to pull Secret back onto their own side of the map rather than be aggressive and invade into the dire jungle. And then Kaka obviously playing behind some of these heroes and getting one of the most beautiful sleep counter initiations that we've seen of the tournament.
I don't know what to say about this. You're both praising a Naga player. Just not sure this is right. This is not real. Anyway, we're going to go to a break right now. And when we come back, we'll certainly be a lot happier because game 2 is just around the corner. Can Newbee make it the second consecutive Chinese team into the semi-finals, or have Team Secret got something up their sleeves? We'll find out very shortly.
Introducing a new fragrance for a new you from Newbee. Cool as Kaka. Boogie just like Moogie. Restore your faith. Make all the ladies SCCCU. KP all over your face. Newbee Scale, the second most popular fragrance in Asia.
Ready. Steady. Game on.
And a very warm welcome back to the stadium here in Romania for live coverage of the Bucharest Major, the 9th major in history. Are we going to get a 4th team win, finally, break that run of 3 teams only winning majors? OG, of course, having won 4 majors previously. They aren't in this particular tournament any longer. They went out in the first part of the stage, in the group stages. But we do have the other 2, skrff and Virtus Pro, are both still in. But skrff are hanging by a thread right now as we go back into game number 2 against Newbee. The draft is just around the corner. We're going to get some thoughts from Jack and Cap as we head towards that second game. Cap, in a way, have skrff kind of shown their hand in the first game, or do you think they've got plenty of tricks up their sleeve?
No. This is Team skrff you're talking about. This is a team that wants to be able to win these drafts, and I think this is a team that has shown a whole lot of versatility when it comes to hero picks, even if we can describe their playstyle in most of the season as being pretty slow. They've always had those kind of heroes that they can pull up that give them an advantage. And as we're seeing here at this tournament, in their best of ones, even at the end of the ESL 1 Katowice, that they were trying to pick up the pace a little bit, and they tried it here, didn't work out against Newbee. I would actually like to see Team skrff go back to a slower lineup that I feel is definitely their strongest suit, and they look most well-practiced at.
Okay, draft has begun, and we so far have got the same 4 bands. Jack, what are you expecting?
Well, I want to say that for Puppy is the type of captain with that supreme confidence who will say, you know what, we just didn't play well that game. You know, I'd be confident repeating the same draft. But in this case, he's not going to give up that knock in this game. Again, targeting Kaka's hero pool very heavily. I thought that they would do more of this in the band's last game as well.
Yeah, it kind of switched focus in phase 2, didn't it? Because they needed an offlaner, and they kind of focused KP's pool a little bit more.
I do wonder if, as these teams are addressing Gyrocopter more and more, if he's going to continue to be seen in that 1-2 pickup.
Yeah, he's a hard ban in phase 2. That's the problem, isn't it? That's why teams have started picking him up earlier.
So none of the questionable supports are still left out there, I think. All the really big playmaking type ones like the ET and Naga.
Yep, Bane, Chen.
What if they just
gone?
grab the AA or Enchantress this game? And a lot of synergy from the AA and the Enchantress can provide a lot of pressure onto some of these lane supports.
What about the Razor, the hero that has been left out there this time around?
There's the 2 broken heroes out there.
All right.
So skrff go for the gyro.
Doubling down on the Gyrocopter, feeling like the Naga Siren, which is true, the way she interrupts what you want to be able to do as a hero was too disruptive, but they could still make it work. I would actually love to see Newbee pick up a Razor in this game. I feel like it does okay versus the Gyro.
See whether they decide to pick up a core in this first 2. They don't always.
And I also wonder if they value the Underlord enough to be able to pick it up in the first 1-2, or if they feel like Underlord and Tide, again, very similar heroes, one of them will still be available for them in that third 4.
So come back for the Faith Disruptor again. And usually this would be a core.
Maybe Omni is still out there as well against the Gyrocopter. We've also seen how Gyrocopter really likes having Omni on his team as well. But then again, we're talking about picking up our offlaner pretty early.
Yeah.
There was a detriment to that in our previous series.
It also means skrff can just easily slot the Rubik in round 1 if they want.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, if they're afraid it'll get banned and they want to just go for it right away, they could just try to pick up a lifestealer here, but it's a bit early to usually reveal who your safe lane core is going to be.
There's also Bounty if you want to be able to play like the information game against Team skrff. Because they've picked up this Gyrocopter, because they want to be fighting, information is definitely the name of the game. It's a big smoke stopper too.
Okay. So the Brew.
Again, with the value of flexible core picks early on, you have something that does provide some pressure in lane. If you put it against the gyro, at least slows down the gyro a bit. You can put this hero in all 3 lanes.
That'll be that man's hero, presumably.
5 seconds.
Yeah, again, we said it in the TNC series where the gyrocopter just doesn't really do a whole lot against this Brewmaster. The Brewmaster in laning phase also is a detriment to gyrocopter's CSing. But if he gets off his ultimate, like, what are you supposed to do as a gyrocopter? These Brewlings just kind of run at you, and your magic damage isn't going to be useful there. So if you're Team Secret, then you want to be the ones always kind of initiating. You want to make sure that...
Yeah, I did wonder whether they would potentially go for this raise. It's almost certainly going to get banned in phase 2, so they've picked up 2 cores very early. They're not immune to this, though, Cap, are they?
No. So is this going to be the Vada Razor, and they're going to try and match it up against the Brewmaster in some way?
I mean, that's part of the reason they picked it now, surely, is that flexibility, because they do run it in a number of different ways.
Yeah, and they can still do like an Ace Razor and then some sort of mid gyro.
Team Secrets turn to ban.
I don't know, I wasn't like a terribly big fan of the way TNC opened with their 1-2 cores, but I also thought the synergy of Gyro and Omni Knight would just kind of overcome that disadvantage. They didn't. Here, I don't really feel like there's the same synergy for Razor and Gyrocopter. They occupy the same zone when it comes to their farming. They are both kind of lane dominators who want to be able to quickly move out of the laning phase by level 6, level 7, start moving around, start getting kills. Neither one is fantastic at being able to take objectives. That was a big problem for Team Secret in Game 1 as well.
Yeah, it's usually it's a bit uncommon now to see 2 cores picked up straight up in the first phase. Again, really just exposes you a little bit. Your cores, a lot of answers for them. You can start banning to even protect some of these heroes if you want. Just one core that comes to mind here is like a sniper, and they can, if they want to, they can start building around protecting that or removing threats to it.
You know what? Because of the Razor, they actually don't have to ban Lifestealer here, presumably because they have one of the better counters against it.
Yeah, they've continued focusing on the off-lane and supports with a Rubik and a Beast removed.
Yeah, again, the Viper ban by Team Secret really shows you
Makes
that they
sense.
do feel like that.
Yeah.
That was a strong counter to the Gyrocopter, because technically Razor doesn't hate Viper too much.
10 seconds remaining. Newbees turn to pick.
While Newbee have they kind of have, because of the Panda kind of needs Blink Dagger, or his ultimate is a very long cooldown, their teamfight readiness is not exact, but all these Disruptor lineups, they usually want to be the aggressors, right? You want to be able to take the teamfight to the enemy team and be able to get the glimpse back. Panda does enable that, but I still think they need some other reinforcements when it comes to their early to mid-game focus to make sure that a Gyrocopter Razor can't simply just run at them all the time. And there is not a whole lot of those early game heroes left with a Viper banned, the Razor taken. So I'm kind of wondering what they're going to be able to get out of their safe lane or mid that they feel comfortable with against both of these heroes.
You mentioned earlier, Jack, the Earth Spirit from Kaka hasn't been received that well recently in China.
He
had a few criticism.
There was a period of time, yeah, because of his itemization, I guess. He would usually go for Eels or Force Staff, and it was felt that he didn't play the hero as aggressively.
And then there's pick for Secret, Cap.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, skrff Mage, they've picked it a number of times. I've seen it here and there.
It's usually Yapsor.
Yeah, it's like one of those heroes that zones out the Brewmaster really well because you're just all damage. You don't really need to right-click. That being said, I think Newbee may help him out with the Earth Spirit up in there in the top lane, something like that. You need maybe a DK type hero. Doesn't feel the greatest against Razor, but it's been picked before. Chaos Knight is another carry for Newbee that, while they may not run it, I've seen it a number of times against Gyrocopter and Razor. The Death Prophet, SCC.
May have a chance to be a little bit more flashy.
Yeah, and there's still an OD left in there as well to potentially deal with these cores. A lot of choices that they have.
10 seconds remaining.
Death Prophet, again, we've seen this put on SCCC more for tempo reasons, but also as a lane matchup, this is another hero that can kind of go in different lanes and not have to worry too much. Pretty good sustain.
Hey, what were we saying earlier?
Yeah.
So, is this an Ace Wraith or is it a Puppy Wraith?
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a mid-one gyrocopter. It's going to be an Ace Wraith King.
Okay.
And a Fada Racer. I have not seen a whole lot, or any rather, support Wraith King, unless I missed a pro game or something. But I'm not seeing
Puppy
any
has,
clubs or anything.
Puppy
like
has
that.
a couple of games on it.
Yeah. So they are, holy cow, early, super early game focus with this team.
Yeah, if this goes wrong, it's going to go badly wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, they need to be able to win lanes, but I think the last time they picked up Wraith King, if my memory serves me, it was up against like one of those like void lineups or something, you know, where you just didn't care about going in the front line and dying.
We also
Death
saw
Prophet is kind of like
Wraith in the group stage, which was the Vici Pain game, I think.
Yeah, I think it's more likely to be a support Wraith King, actually.
Yeah,
for Puppy.
I do too.
You have the synergy with the cores. Again, this is a hero that isn't... You pick it often against combo or against big ultimates because they have to overcommit to kill you and you still come back and provide the same utility.
That was an old combination, Wraith King, Bucharest Mage, because you have a support that managed to give you a stun. I'm a bit skeptical on it, but the only reason I'm down with it is simply because, I mean, leaving a support for last pick is kind of weird. And
yeah, so Puppy did actually play the Wraith King in Katowice recently against Infamous. They also played it against LGD, but then Ace used it, and that's kind of why I was thinking that they can play it both ways, and I wondered whether they threw this in there to throw Newbee off, actually to make them think that it was a core.
I must have completely missed that match.
It's okay, you had to snooze that game.
Newbee definitely have made that read, though. Their Underlord ban.
Yeah, yeah, they're not falling for that one. But they can still switch it. So, final ban.
Team Secrets turn to Newbee's turn to
Okay.
victory.
We're going to bring out a Tide. So, Newbee read that one well. And that does make it a support Wraith.
I still feel like the OD would be a good pickup for them here.
OD against the Tide, nice
10 seconds remaining.
single carry for them. I'm kind of okay with that.
5 seconds remaining.
I think they want to be able to focus on shoving out waves because Team Secret have so much fighting power. I'd be a little bit scared in fighting into this one too much.
You may now
The Luna comes back out for Newbee. So 3 games in a row today we've had the Luna. Not had it at all at the tournament so far. And suddenly it's become the meta pick in the last 3 games. The draft is done. Game 2 is just around the corner, which means we need some predictions. And that's going to be quite tough, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the Wraith King is going to play really well into this game. I don't know. It's something about the fact that he's just able to play into that front lines, can soak up, the Death Prophet damage, can soak up the Luna damage as well.
Did we see whether it was going to be a support at the end there?
Yeah.
It is?
Certain it is.
Okay. All right.
The fact that Tidehunter is a decent pipe hero for you, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Secret. I was really skeptical about their opening and their 4th pickup, but Secret.
Okay, all right. Well, Capitalist has gone for Secret. Jack?
Yeah, it feels like they can probably just outlast this Newbee lineup in a lot of these fights. But I think Newbee playing really well right now. I think Secret may once again have trouble in lane based on the draft picks. And so I'm going to go with Newbee for this game as well.
You
Have
just
you
want
got
to pull
another
out your
shirt? Have you really got another shirt? How many shirts have you got behind there? Has he got like the PGL shop
Well,
or something?
there's no more Chinese teams left, so I have a feeling Jack may be out of shirts.
Yeah, well, all right, fair enough. So Jack has gone for the other team, Newbee, on this particular one, and obviously Cat went for Secret. Let's find out as we head into game number 2. A lot on the line right now. A place in the semi-final up for grabs for Newbee if they can win this one, but of course Secret want to tie things up. Let's head back to Trent and Ziori for game number 2.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here for game number 2 of Secret versus Newbee. And once again, we'll see Luna. Trent, what are you thinking? Which draft do you favor?
She's back, baby. I mean, if you're picking Wraith King, it must be good, right? How can you go against a puppy Wraith King? So let's get right into it, because they're already rocking and rolling, running around here. They're smoked up from Newbee.
Absolutely.
But they're going back the other way. They're pulling a UE. All right, back we go.
Maybe. Mid one's going to be on the high ground here, so he'll have a great position to try to break this smoke and scout it out, potentially. The Death Prophet loses hers. So it's going to be a tough rotation for Newbee to execute, but they're dropping a lot of pings in mid one.
Stuck.
The good spot is going to backfire, and now he's the one that gets initiated on, but Secret have reinforcements. KP taking a lot of damage, but First Blood's drawn his faith, finishes off mid one. Now Kaka goes down in return. It's a 1-for-1. KP stunned up, but they want Puppy, and they find him. Newbee getting the better of this early First Blood exchange over the Bounty Rune. They will head back to friendly territory after trading 2-1. But oh, wait, it's a Newbee fake back, Trent. They want this bounty as well.
Well, it was the best of scouting spots and suddenly the worst of scouting spots all at once.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was a good read from Newbee, right? Obviously aware of that position, wrapping around with a few made it very hard for that gyrocopter to read exactly how the rotation would go.
Yeah, but Kaka just so quick early on. Means he's going to get to that third bounty rune before they can rotate back up from Secret. But it does look like they will get the matchups they want. Ace is going top. He'll be against the Brewmaster. And then they're going to try and play a little bit of a trio dodo down bottom with the Tide. And a couple risky supports, a Skywrath Mage and a Wraith King. So
definitely unconventional, right? We don't really get to see the Skywrath Mage all too often. I think this hero is the definition of a glass cannon. 0 starting armor, paper thin to physical damage, but if he gets the initiation, the burst can be huge.
Yeah, one thing that's nice here is that they are punishing bot, right? They're putting all this pressure, and Earth Spirit wants to just roll on mid. You can see Kaka's there. He's waiting for it. He's got a nice little Death Prophet, but until SCCC has the Spirit Siphon, it's not going to be quite as effective, and that's just too long for Kaka. He has to rotate bot just to make sure there's no plays onto Mugi. But I think with like Clockwork falling off, you kind of look for these heroes up against the Brewmaster to try and shut down that ultimate, and that ginormous silence from the Ancient Seal is basically going to be your answer instead of the Clockwork.
Yeah, one of the classic counters to Brewmaster in that regard, and oftentimes Disruptor comes up, but obviously on the same team this go around. The aggro try will commence, and they're going to put some damage onto Faith. Follow-up won't be there for a kill. This is a pretty angry tri-lane for both sides, already a lot of damage being exchanged. Trent, I'm curious what you think about the Puppy Wraith King. Do you believe in the support Wraith King?
As Paul mentioned, he did play it recently over Cavice, but maybe a little bit of an easier game, perhaps, playing up against some of the weaker teams during the tournament, so maybe testing it out a little bit, but I don't know. He's got a nice lead-off stun, right? Something that not a lot of position ones have, so it kind of allows him to transition over into the support role. And then those skeletons, man, they can farm pretty fast. You get a couple of those guys built up, you might be able to catch up somewhere, get yourself that Blink Dagger and a couple more items.
Kaka gonna walk just a bit too far forward, and this could be a kill going the way of Secret, and indeed it is.
Yeah, nice plays there. Puppy just ensuring there was no rollout potential there.
Very nice. Yeah, that Wraith King stun, not just a stun, but also the tapering slow on top of that, so it does fit the bill for a strong support. Yapzor and Kaka kind of going at it, but it will be the Earth Spirit able to grab that invisibility rune.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny tri-lane that Newbee have been forced into here, right? Like Luna, a legendary hero in the tri-lanes. Oh, that aura, how good it is early on with the blessing. Disruptor, does not enjoy the old try-on-try, and then well, the third one's even worse, it's an Earth Spirit, but he's making a place now from Kaka, a legendary hero for him, but they're on Mugi.
Yeah, they're going to go 1-for-1. Mugi falls first and Puppy second. Now it's Faith on the run, but a nice roll from Kaka. They might be able to bring down this big bad Tide. He does have one more Anchor Smash, and that's going to stop the damage output from this Earth Spirit. Now on the way, it's Mugi that's respawned. They'll try to repel Yapzor, but it won't be successful, and now a double kill secured for this Skywrath Mage.
Oh, and he wants a little bit more there. Some more pressure onto Mugi. Puppy, he's not that crazy.
This is brutal.
You know, he didn't ban Naga in game one. That was a little crazy, but he's not that crazy. He's not going to dive that tower, I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking as we have a moment here at the other lanes, mid seems to be favored for the Death Prophet up against mid one's Gyrocopter. Fairly standard build here, not too much kill potential without rotations, but surely Newbee will be happy with that. And then up top, it's the Razor versus Brewmaster. Definitely a Razor favored matchup. Pretty much any melee, as we just saw, stealing that damage. But Brew, he's got some presence in the lane. He's still got 14 last hits, 7 denies. Yeah. It's better than a lot of other lanes we've seen for Brewmasters in games past.
It should start falling off, though. Like, the level 1 static link is definitely awful, but once you get up to level 2, that's when you start really taking some of that damage away, and KP just play a little bit cautiously. But if they're so busy bottom with the 2 supports from Secret, maybe you know, you just want to keep playing as aggressive as possible, as KP just saying, you kind of need the support to kill me, so I don't want to give you too much space.
Well, fairly passive early game now that this try-on-try has settled down. It's actually been broken up for Newbee. The Earth Spirit has made the rotation up to the top lane. Seems that Newbee have made the call to try to find a gank on
Look where
Ace.
Puppy is just waiting too, like from that one moment onto Moogie, a single step out of position, he'll just be instantly gone on.
Yeah, great positioning
That
in the
looks to
tree
be
line.
it.
Here it is, Gush to start things off. The follow-up Wraithfire Blast, Kinetic Field from Fate's Disruptor will slow things down just enough that Moogie's able to make it back under the tower. Difficult for Secret to find those kills with the current lane positioning.
Just pulled the weight back a little bit for themselves, though. And
Mid one in some trouble here. SCCC, is this a kill? It sure is, my friend. That's a Crypt Swarm to bring him down, and now Death Prophet has kind of shifted the tides in this mid that felt a little bit more like a wash just moments ago.
32-7 to 17-1. Gonna miss out on some of this experience, too, with the tower taking down these creeps. Wow. Very rough there from
It's a little early to pull up the net worth tab, but he is a full 1,000 net worth ahead of the next leading farmer, who is the Razor. That is absolutely insane at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, and you expect that to happen if like Kaka's shadowing mid a bunch or something like that, but hasn't really been necessary.
And now in the bottom lane, Faith again initiated on. The trio of Secret heroes have way too much damage for that Disruptor to handle. Paper thin himself, he will take a tumble. Now up towards the top lane, it's Ace versus 2. The level 5 Razor is on the run. Actually, it's the other way.
He might not be able to kill, but at the very least, he can't really be gone on until they rotate up SCCC, who has the phase boots after that kill in the mid, so extremely quick. And mid one, very happy he didn't come back to his lane.
And now in the bottom, Puppy actually getting initiated on. Faith gets that kill, but Fata wants to find some vengeance for his fallen comrade. Moogie, with a very aggressive posture, is going to push back the tide, fighting over the bounty rune. Fata is able to pick it up. He's got stick charges and fused raindrops, but he will get glimpsed back. Faith with the kinetic field, maybe needs to be a little bit careful, but that tide is just too tanky for Newbee to handle at the moment. Haste rune secured by Faith. He will head back to friendly territory.
Yeah, and Fata does still get the bounty rune there with his bottle, so he'll be all right. Healing himself back up. And 3 heroes mid as Ace comes for the party. And, well, SCCC, he's just going to ult top. He's saying, okay. And on mid, KP can hold this wave, try and pull it back, but dangerous with the call down. Split not quite ready.
Faith loses the haste rune and will get brought down. Yapzor able to finish him off with a stray arcane bolt. Secret happy with that pickoff, and now they're actually putting some pressure.
We got 4 heroes here
on this mid tier 1 tower themselves. I mean, it's a good play from the Death Prophet to try to get a tower herself, but Secret trying to strike.
The skeletons are here.
Yeah, great siegers that they are. Wraith King turning back to the Skeleton King, Trent. We've gone full meta with this hero.
Careful now.
Anyhow, down bottom, this is good for Moogie. You know, not an ideal lane against the Tide Hunter, but much better than that try-on-try we were experiencing moments ago. Secret continuing to stay aggressive as Faith, kind of wandering through his own jungle, bumps into Ace, and going to have to head for the hills.
Yeah, Secret very happy with that trade, though. Yeah, they lost top, but Death Prophet, you know, you spent your ulti for it, can't do much more during that downtime. You got the mid lane. Takes away a little bit more of the this kind of safety of your own side, and then instantly rotating down bottom. They're just playing kind of like Newbee was last game, right? Very early group up. In fact, this is much earlier still than Newbee managed to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely the smart idea. As we talked about last game, you want to try to pressure Luna, but also getting these early towers just helps the Secret team grab some of that momentum. However, Brewmaster is level 6, will use the split to mount the defense, and wrapping around the backside, it's the Earth Spirit.
Kaka.
They find him, and they'll bring him down.
He walked blind right into him.
Kind of a missed opportunity for Newbee. They will drop the stun onto Fata. That's the boulder toss from the Brew split. Isolating Ace with the Cyclone. So they go 1 for 1. I guess it's an advantage for Newbee. They lose a support, and they end up killing the offlaner.
Yep, fine for them. They defend the tower. And 30 more seconds until Exorcism is back. So they could continue to push here, but if there's too many heroes from Secret, or if they're not feeling confident enough without the ultimate from KP, they can just back it off. But Yapzor, very irritating with his build. He went this the last time, I believe he played the support Skywrath as well. He just maxes that concussive shot. Yep, constantly spamming over and over. A little bit of damage, a nice amount of slow. And think about how much time that's going to give for Ace, as well as mid one during engagements.
Kind of a cool build from Yapzor also. He's going first item Kaya after the Magic Wand. Doesn't even have boots yet.
Yeah, not something you really consider when you think about like support heroes, but obviously works very well on this hero. Int, scaling into your damage, pretty important.
Yeah, and on that same note, this Death Prophet with all this early farm, not rushing the Yule Scepter, but actually picked up the Hooded Defiance first item after this set of Null Towers. Another Exorcism deployed in the mid lane. But the defense, will it be
that was
mounted?
nice.
Gyrocopter taking huge damage as mid one falls. It's now a mega kill streak for skrff, but KP will go down to Yapzor in the meantime.
Yeah, sandwiched in there with Faith rotating. So again, a Brewmaster without ultimate, so not a absolutely massive cost, but they're still here. A couple of heroes from the side of Secret.
Yep, Glyph will slow things down a little bit.
Always the threat of Ravage too here.
That's true. Ty did just ding level 6, but Fata down in the bottom lane.
He's up there now. He's a big boy. Fat anchovy. Oh, I'll just head back up top.
Yeah, Fata rotating through the jungle, maybe looking for an opportunity. Okay, Faith just working on ancient stacks right now. Luna versus Gyrocopter once more. Stacks are going to be a huge part of this game, no doubt.
Kaka slowed down here, but I think he's going to be all right. Rolls himself up there and even gets the stun on the bottom to make sure there's no follow-up gush. So KB with the ulti.
And interestingly enough, even though Newbee had what felt like a fantastic start with his Death Prophet dominating mid, still really high on the net worth chart, it's Secret that are really hanging in there. They had a small net worth edge just a moment ago. And this game is very even right now, Trent.
Yeah, see if Mugi commits into any of the same choices up here, right? It's not sure what he's going to do, but I think the more downtime and space they hand over to Secret seems a little bit better, right? Again, very greedy supports in terms of the Wraith King and the Skywrath Mage. So Kaya, hopefully, going to get some boots for Yapzor, as you were discussing before. He has it ready. And it's all just a matter of the ultimates. We've talked a lot in terms of like China and the Death Prophet and how well they play it in that region. They just always go right when that ulti is needed.
Roll onto Ace, the follow-up stun from Kaka. skrff looking to bring down the damage, and Faith with the glimpse will secure the kill. There was also a brew split, so they might have had that boulder toss, but they find a freebie in their jungle on one of the Secret cores.
Oh, that's a pretty big kill to lose Ace like that without having the Exorcism used. So they smoke up, they're rotating back in towards that Secret side. Up onto the high ground. Might just end up
nice
being a
scan.
vision smoke though. Yeah, very nicely done. They had some vision inside the jungle too, so they might have just caught a glimpses to like those movements, and then suddenly those heroes don't show up anywhere else, so they're kind of like, yeah, they're definitely prepping for a smoke. But likewise, they're going to go over a Newbee ward by their own ancients, keeping an eye on those stacks. They've been prepping for the Gyrocopter. And if they see any smokes in the inventories of Secret, they're going to be aware of what they're up to too. But for now, they'll just settle on a push into the bot.
Yeah, you know, almost a little surprised that Newbee are taking this early game so slow, maybe waiting for that Yule's Scepter on the Death Prophet to be completed. That tends to be the item that opens up her team fight a lot more. But if you've got Exorcism, the Static Storm, as well as the Brew Split, I don't really see too many reasons not to take a fight if you're Newbee.
Yeah. I mean, the timing was pretty damn perfect, though. I mean, the smoke was almost exactly when Exorcism was up, right? And so had they found that fight, they need it there. And then once the smoke doesn't work, they just instantly say, okay, back into the fight, back into some towers. So everything going according to plan. And there's no really, like, how do you respond to Secret, right? You can't just force into that tower up top. There could be a TP.
Yeah, Blink Dagger on the Brewmaster now. Good positioning from KP, kind of hiding in the tree line, hoping that somebody might come to defend and then they could mount the defense, but seems all right for now. It's just a free tier 1. Newbee open up the map just a little bit more. The mid, the last tier 1 standing now for Secret.
The puppy in here, bravely warding. Level 6, as most Raid Kings, not quite spending any points into his ulti yet. Doesn't want to waste it on a bad death. But 2 very nice wards. One on the low ground. Almost never see that one too. But just getting that vision, hoping it's not countered out by a sentry.
All right, slow and steady as we go here. Trent, Death Prophet still very happily seated at the top of the net worth.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that next Exorcism. We're into a little bit of a mid-game.
Yeah, you know, kind of makes sense. Both teams, reminiscent of last game, focusing very much on their stacks, their mid-game economy, realizing how important it is for the Gyrocopter and the Luna, respectively, to get that early farm and be able to accelerate into the mid-game around those core items. I think just like last match, BKB is going to be one of the core, key items in terms of when these team fights start to erupt, as we now see the Mask of Madness secured onto Mugi.
Jeez, I'd say though, mid one getting a lot of the space, as well as Fada, when it comes to Secret, and Ace is just left in the dust. Like, he's stuck just going phase into BKB. I mean, he's below the Brewmaster right now. Way down there on net worth. And I guess someone always gets sacked for Yapsor in a lot of the games. And in this case, it's going to be Ace.
Yep.
But if you get that Agnum Scepter, though, man, that item is so good on Skywrath Mage.
You know, a wise man once said that it's impossible for everyone to have a good game every single match, right, Trent? Sometimes you got to play from behind and open up those possibilities for your teammates. But here we go. It is Secret with a smoke headed towards the top lane. Right now, Newbee with a pretty good position under their own tier 2 tower.
Look at those wards, too. Like, this is 3 heavy wards committed in that area for Secret. And, well, maybe it's going to pay off here.
Well, it looked like a good rotation from Newbee, but maybe they'll get caught. Still, look at skrff. Nobody's showing on the map. He knows, hey, guys, there could be some trickery afoot. They smoke, I think, out of vision of Secret. They're going to start to back up, but there we go. It's KP in the front lines. That'll be the brew split. Silence on to the Razor as Faith on the low ground drops the Static Storm kinetic field. Ace gets isolated. He'll be brought down first. Fada with a double damage and a Ravage. Will he even have the opening to use it? Boulder Toss slowing him down. Now
nice
the Spirit Siphon.
The wind.
He's going to get glimpsed back, and this Tide will have no opportunity to use a good Ravage. Yapsor caught by a Yule Scepter, but able to back up in time.
It should be okay.
Blink forward from KP has the spit,
Another
and now
Yule's
he's going to get
catch.
caught by the Yules. The ult comes from Yapsor, but it's a 3-0 here, Trent. 11-8 as Newbee get a lot out of this. They'll now bump into Puppey. The Wraith King does opt to skill the ultimate. He was holding until there, but he's coming back to life. Mid one is respawn, going in onto skrff, but Newbee have some reinforcements. Ace also back in the fray. KP will be the first victim. So many low HP heroes from Newbee, but they are starting to spread. Mid one able to finish off Faith, and Secret do find the recovery kills they were looking for.
Yeah, they really needed that. A great fight played by KP right until the end there, honestly. Like, using that Storm Panda so well, but they got a bit greedy. And pressed their luck a little there. That big dive towards Yapsor.
Yeah, it's still early game, Trent. Those respawn timers are very low, and you got to keep that in mind when you try to follow up these pickoffs. Mugi probably going to spend some time in the jungle, and I guess recovery farm might be a bit extreme, but he is falling behind the gyrocopter, really wants to get that Dragon Lance up. Certainly makes things easier for Luna in these big engagements.
It's certainly not last game, right?
No.
He was out of control.
Yeah, definitely feels like the Luna is a lot more manageable, but the opportunity cost there is it seems like this Death Prophet is the one that's found that early space, and she's still a big threat. We'll see Secret trying to pressure this tier 2 in the mid. Fada with an invisibility rune does have a Ravage, connects on 4. It's a great setup. They get the kill on Faith as now Kakat tries to roll away. The Tide absorbs it, but they don't get much more than the position 5 of Newbee.
Yeah, but they know there's not a lot of catch right now. The Brew ulti's still down for another 20 seconds. That might be enough to save this tower.
Exorcism also down for 20. Eclipse as well. All of those ultimates coming up right around the same time. Seems Secret are relatively aware of the timings, and they are going to retreat just as Newbee have the option to fight.
Yeah, they have quite the possibilities there. 3 spells currently with that 140-ish second cooldown.
Yeah. But also something that Secret can play around.
Well, for now, they'll do so, and the full pipe done for skrff. So more of the 5-man Dotes coming out here from Newbee. And if they can get some aggressive positioning and towards Secret side of the map, all of these wards that Secret have placed down could be a bit useless for them, honestly, as well. Faith's going to take care of one right there, while also getting a stack. What a player.
The what's come to be the standard build on the gyrocopter copter coming from
Prowler,
mid one.
dude.
Sorry?
Prowler got in the way. Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys, you know, you just can't stack camp with those dudes. But yeah, you're right. It's Phase Drums BKB. Wow.
What a
hero.
surprise.
Gyrocopter. You guys seen this one yet?
Yep, and also
it's something.
Razor doing basically the same build. Ixnay on the drums for now, but same general idea. We talked about how important Magic Immunity will be this game, and Secret are certainly prioritizing.
Yeah, speaking of same builds, Puppey builds Helm on every hero, so this will be no exception as the creep checks it out there. The old Colbo Foreman trying to offer a drink, but they're not having any of them.
Well, now around the Roche pit, Newbee committed
whip,
pretty hard. The glimpse, that's going to keep Faith alive for now, but Roche falling very quickly. He will go down. Aegis of the Immortal picked up by Mugi, and now it's going to be Ace that's isolated by the Cyclone. He will get obliterated as he comes back down to Earth, trading 1 for 1, but Newbee obviously finding the advantage, still with the Aegis in tow.
Kaka. He was close.
Yeah, looking for that pick on the gyrocopter. But not quite going to get it.
Thought he was going for a TP in the trees, but it was just a long run there from mid one, so he will survive. Just farming in towards that BKB as well would have been a very costly death.
Yeah.
But
Mugi
yeah, they've secured the Aegis then.
moving into a nice triple stack to follow up that Roche, so accelerating his farm by a nice margin. Still strikingly even, though, Trent. Feels reminiscent to last game in the way that the laning stage and mid-game have felt like kind of a wash, and it could just come down to one big team fight, as both sides have so much of it.
And even with just brown boots, Puppy, he's rocking around 392 thanks to Kobold. This guy really doesn't know how to put you into shape, man.
Wow.
Need this guy.
It's pretty good. I like that we're seeing teams prioritize the Helm of the Dominator a bit more now. It seemed like sort of a forgotten about item for a while, but if used properly, it can provide quite a bit of value.
I don't even know if you even say teams. It feels like it's just Puppy. It's just players. And, you know, any hero, he's going for it. Kaga with a cute little blink steal there. But
nice.
It works out for Fada. He bottles a haste rune instead, so thank you, he says.
KP jumping forward. There's the glimpse back onto mid one. He does not have the BKB done yet. Tries the TP, but Boogie with the interrupt. Call down, going to slow him down a little bit, but Kaka with that final kick to secure the kill. It's a dead gyrocopter, and Newbee get one more.
Yeah, and that's a hasted tide. It's so tempting. You're thinking, is there a chance? Can we do something here? But he's also been seen under vision, so they'll be very cautious about their positioning around Mugi.
Such a good time to kill that gyrocopter, Trent.
They're going to try and cancel TPs here, too, possibly.
200 gold off the BKB, so that really slows down his ability to jump into these team fights.
That's who just link and run away. Neither wants to fight. They don't know what they're going for.
Hey, but Kaka's here, and he is hungry for a battle. Magnetize comes out. There was a Skywrath mage nearby. But who's actually going to get who? Ace trying to move through the tree line. He's got a lot of stick charges here, but Faith wraps around the other way, and there is no survival for Ace's Razor.
Yeah, you see Ace staying and tanking the death just shows exactly who the core is this game. It's not the Razor. It's Razor support. We got support Razor and support Wraith King. Yapzor slowly making his way into the core role. If he can get there. He's had a very hard time getting towards the Aghanim Scepter after such a strong start. 6-1-4. But Sky, you know, he definitely farms heroes better than neutrals.
Yeah, definitely a hero that feels really momentum-based, can certainly fall off if you take a few missteps. Do you like the build coming out from Yapzor here? The Brown Boots Kaya we talked about, but do you think Ags is the next choice?
It's a hell of an item. It's one of the best Aghanims, honestly. It's can you imagine we got like a silence not only on the Brewmaster, but onto one of these secondary heroes, like just the Earth Spirit or something. Like this is a hero that doesn't build anything up against silence.
That's
and
true.
he just gets that like crazy silence on top of him. The fight's over. 6 seconds of no Earth Spirit. Like you have to be so clutch and perfect every single engagement with the hero.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But,
I guess
it's expensive.
Force Staff is an item that came to mind, maybe a slightly more economical choice, something that Yapzor will guaranteed be able to get. And speaking of Yapzor, he's going to get caught in the mid lane, and this will slow down that Aghanim Scepter even more as he gets picked off.
Yeah, Puppy's trying a little bit of a wraparound play, but again, all of this vision, Newbee are just almost like baiting. Like they're playing like they have no idea where the heroes in Secret are. They've had this ward up here for so long on that high ground, but they're not really reacting in those like little movements from Secret. They only are going to take an engagement when they know 100% that's going to be good for them.
Yeah, these little pickoffs starting to add up. You look at that gold graph, and this is the biggest lead we've seen yet this game.
Oh, look at this.
As Newbee grabbed the momentum.
Following Puppy when he goes for these deep wards.
Yeah, Kaka stalking him
blocked.
out. Faith going to be right nearby, and now the Death Prophet rotating in, trying to TP. They'll have the interrupt. Nowhere for Puppy to go. They'll be able to kill him once, and hopefully twice. Reincarnation. Will there be reinforcements on the way? Secret have some heroes in the bottom lane, but not going to dive past that tier 2. Puppy in very deep, trying to finish off Kaka. If he could have made that a 1-for-1, would have been huge, but alas, it does not happen.
Well, I mean, they did trade for a tower deny mid, as mid one took out their own tier 2 tower. So
well,
they got something out of that Puppy death.
Yes, something, but very little. What does Mugi have on the way here? Is that a BKB for him? Yep, it sure is. So now Magic Immunity on the Luna, and Death Prophet is very close, actually has it, just needs to grab it from the base. So this could be a time where Newbee look to take a fight. Even the Brewmaster now, he's just a recipe away.
They're going to lose the Aegis, though, so just in time to get the BKB, but not in time to actually make some good use of this Aegis. Plus, they already got that tier 2 denied, so they won't be at the bottom one.
It feels like we're almost in like a BKB meta. It's been a recurring theme of a lot of our casts is, hey, they've got the BKB, this is the time to fight. But you look at Secret's lineup, BKB is pretty much the hard counter to Skywrath and Tide across the board, right?
Yep, definitely. And
I mean, this is the game.
And again, that problem with the Tidehunter and why Disruptor is such a big problem is that he doesn't buy BKB. And so if he gets caught out any of these times by Faith, or even just like launched up in the air by KP, it's very irritating. You know, you can't do anything through the whole fight.
Also, Ace has now got his magic immunity secured. So with that, Secret will smoke up in the top lane.
Well read by Newbee, though.
Except the Razor making this rotation. And yeah, it doesn't look like they'll
maybe
catch
not.
anything.
They see SCCC.
Still a hard initiation to make. They do bump into Kaka as he turns the wrong way. Pops the Shadow Amulet. They don't have detection, but Yapzor, he's got an ultimate that works right through it.
It's actually a good thing he used that because the silence on the Tidehunter could have created a problem if he just wasn't able to anchor smash and there's a blink dagger something from Kaka and you look like fools. So Yapzor just guarantees it.
Yep. Only a support down, though, and he'll be up momentarily as Newbee start moving into enemy territory to invade this dire jungle.
This game, Mugi not feeling quite as bold. Just going to go back for his Hurricane Pike, try and keep his distance away from the Razor. Hopping outside of, like, Ravage AoE, as well as just, like, Call Down, stuff like that. Nice little game to keep his space, so... Secret, they haven't fallen that far behind. They're only 3 kills down, but it certainly felt like the vast majority of these engagements in the past like 10 minutes or so, very Newbee favored. They're the ones who are pushing across the map, setting everything up. It's more so like responses from Secret, and generally they haven't been going all too well. Yeah. Lots of green diamonds up top there for old Newbee. Spells ready to go.
It looks like Secret may have smoked up to try to make this rotation. The top tier 2 tower falls before
ward,
anything comes of it. And that's just more gold going the way of Newbee. This, I doubtful this smoke will turn into much.
Feels so much like last game where they were just struggling to find that big play with Phoenix and Earthshaker. This time it's just kind of like Tide and Gyro, I guess, trying to like sync up, get something done.
Yeah,
Even
looking
Faith.
for Faith perhaps, but great movements. He stays under his tower, heads to the western side of the tree line instead of walking into that danger zone where they don't have vision. BKB, though, is used by the Death Prophet. Mugi going to head back up to the high ground. Ace with his magic immunity. The Bruce split has already come out and will head towards the back line. Great BKB from Mugi. He pops the ultimate, destroys Puppey. The reincarnation will come, and Ace falls second. Fata, he can't get off this Ravage. The Static Storm is so on point. The Tide dies, and now Puppey will get chased down. It's 3 dead for Secret, and soon to be 4. Yapzor left all alone. Will be brought down.
Mid one
as
has
now
to
Mid
fight.
One comes back in with the BKB on. Double damage Kaka. These Yule Scepters are doing so much work. Mugi able, or pardon me, the Gyrocopter able to TP out, but it is 4 down here, Trent, and a huge team fight for Newbee once more.
Can you imagine if Ace just had 1 item, you know? He stole so much damage during that fight. He had nothing but a BKB, and he almost took down Mugi. It was getting close.
Yeah.
But he's a little too poor, and he is the anti-Luna hero that they've got right now.
That was a heartbreaker for Fata, though. I mean, Faith with the perfect Static Storm right there.
Yeah.
He saw that Tide do everything he could to try to get out of it and get off that Ravage to maybe reset things, but just not a possibility.
And the 10-second BKB from Mugi. You had the 10-second BKB from SCCC. That fight was basically doomed from the start, but Secret had to try and make something happen here, because if they're even better set. Like, that was a fight where they essentially caught Newbee out.
Yeah, we got a replay here where we can take a look. So SCCC,
they're so far spread.
Yeah, he pops the BKB first, and it looks like, oh no, that's such an early magic immunity, but it pulls Ace into kind of this awful position. Mugi stops the stun from Puppey, as you can see that slow projectile coming. He gets so low, but there's just no follow-up damage. Fata didn't want to use the Ravage there because he knew it wouldn't have hit Mugi anyway, and now Puppey just gets left behind.
Excellent play on the eastern side of that, too. You saw Kaka rolling and steal a DD as mid one was chugging away over towards it. There could have been a chance maybe he had a little bit of cleanup, too, but Kaka once again with the saves.
Yeah, you know, like if that Gyrocopter gets the double damage there, you think, well, maybe there's some potential to at least get a couple counter kills before the BKB TP home.
Yeah.
But in the end, not possible. And looking at that net worth breakdown, it's starting to feel a little bit more like last game, this Luna pulling ahead and still this Death Prophet at the top of the charts. That's going to be a Butterfly coming out next for Mugi. And I think the Death Prophet is working on a Shiva's Guard, and she's damn close.
Okay, I like this choice from Ace, though. You know, he's struggling with the items, so he just says, you know, I got to get a Blade Mail. That's pretty much my only option here. If I can just, like, force myself onto Luna and she just has to try and kill me, then I have some way to put some damage back into her. And,
yeah.
Now, of course, she's got the armor. She's got 18 now at this point, so it's a bit rough, but she's not invincible.
It's definitely Value Town for the Razor. Very easy build-up, gives you some reliable stats. Very much an item that is greater than the sum of its parts since it lacks a recipe. I think it's absolutely the right choice here. Newbee now in the Roche pit. Roche falling pretty quickly, and Secret not in a position to contest this.
Yeah,
Second Roshan will yield cheese and Aegis for Newbee.
You can see they had some theories. They thought that there was a smoke coming through there or something, but there was nobody. So, we'll scan used just to make sure it's fine. And we'll have that Aegis and cheese as you discussed. So, skrff, he gets the cheese as you'd expect, and Luna with the old Aegis.
Absolutely. Death Prophet, not a good Aegis carrier, but she loves herself some Gouda there, Trent.
Well, mid one, he was looking at that butterfly for quite a while. But he's gone for the Aghanims. He knows, if we win this game, she's probably going to be a while. So, guys, what do you think? I'm going for it.
So we've seen Gyros do this. We saw at least 1 or 2 in the group stage where they pivot into the Aghanim Scepter after getting that drum BKB. Definitely has some potential, right? Lifesteal from the side gunner will keep you alive while you're stunned. Once you get the Maelstrom, it's double chain lightning procs potentially. So it is an item with a lot of merit. Also gives you a lot of stats, so just makes him more survivable.
Yeah, but as you said, it needs other stuff. Like lifesteal, well, you got to get your Satanic. You want a lifesteal side gun, you want that. You a little extra damage with the Maelstrom, the Mjolnir, well, you got to buy that after too. And that's 4,200 gold you're investing.
Yeah.
It's okay, though, for farming when you just have the Aghanims. It's basically like a DD. It's just pumping out these right clicks onto the nearby neutrals and everything. So
it's definitely not a bad idea, but this does open up a window where it could be punished from Newbee. The next 5 to 10 minutes, this gyrocopter might feel a little bit underwhelming in terms of damage output, and this is a time when Newbee will be able to strike. Right as that butterfly is coming out from Luna, he's going to be pretty darn far away from that MKB.
Yeah, that is not going to feel good.
Puppey now in the bottom lane, initiated on, Lucent Beam, Glimpse, he'll drop a stun and try to run, but into the kinetic field we go. Mid one's gonna rotate in, they will finish off the reincarnation, but will it cost them? Nice use of the Hurricane Pike, and now the BKB from Boogie stops the potential ultimate from Fada, and now they're gonna dive deep. They will finish off Puppey's Wraith King. Glimpse back will be BKB'd, but skrff with the Exorcism on, finds Fada in the tree line. He'll have a Ravage here, but won't be able to use it. Another beautiful Static Storm kinetic field from Faith. Newbee now heading up towards the high round. Both heroes dead, have buyback, so Secret can hold.
Moogie's just breaking the mold, man. He did the same thing last game. All these times you're like, okay, you're supposed to die right now.
Look how fast it fell, though. Both buybacks come. They still get the tier 3, and now the reinitiation. Puppey, this could be a dieback. He's down, out of the game for however long. BKB's still on. Ace trying to do what he can. There's the Ravage from Fada. Connects on a few. Will it be enough? Moogie standing his ground as skrff comes back down to earth. There's the Aegis as Ace gets low and we see the Bruce split come. Gyrocopter, no magic immunity. He'll fall next. No buyback there. And now
Ace has none either.
He's in some trouble. Could this be the end of Secret here, Trent?
Falling down. I mean, Fada, he's just blinking away. Yapsor, they're out of those racks. They got nothing left in the tank right now. skrff beyond godlike right now. 16-0-6.
He is just completely zoning the 2 remaining survivors of Secret, and Newbee know these heroes are dead without buyback. As we're seeing this chase onto Yapsor, this Luna is laying into that mid lane of barracks, finishing off the tier 3. Yapsor not even able to TP home as he gets interrupted by the Yule's Scepter. Newbee 1 step away from Megas now. They head to the top lane. The tier 3 falling quickly. That's
there it is.
It's GG, and Secret take an early exodus.
Moogie, I mean, everyone on Newbee, honestly, playing so well. Kaka, again, throughout this tournament, I think he's been probably the standout player for me on Newbee. Just so many great plays on the Sand King and now on this Earth Spirit. But Moogie, the way he's played these fights in the 2 games on the Luna, it's just not what you expect. You're supposed to die there with that Aegis. What are you doing popping your BKB? That's not right. Secret's expecting you to go down and then they all run away. And Moogie says, no, I got some allies here. I'm at 20% HP. I'll pop BKB. Let's go.
Absolutely. Controlled aggression, Trent. Not hyper-aggression, but controlled aggression. They knew their limits. They pushed it to the limit. And as you mentioned, skrff 16-0-7 on the Death Prophet. A flawless game from him.
Absolutely. Slayed his lane, slayed his game. I mean, poor Ace too on that Razor. That was Gyro and Razor. I hear those heroes are pretty popular right now. And there's a Luna. She's up here.
Razor is out and Luna is in, baby. She is now undefeated in this tournament. And give it up for Newbee, moving on to the semifinals. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Kind of shocking to see this series be a relatively quick 2-0.
Yep.
One of the ones that we thought might be going to the limit, so to speak.
Yeah, you knew that these are 2 of the strongest teams currently here at the tournament. So coming in the tournament, I think most people probably going to favor Secret. I think that's a fair thing to say, but Newbee just completely outplayed them, outclassed them.
Yeah.
And easy outmaneuvers, man. That early game, you know, these Luna drafts, they worked out pretty damn well.
So far, so good, and we'll see how things continue to change. That's our second series for the day. There's still one more coming up next, but for now, we're back to the analysts.
Indeed we are. Thank you very much, boys. Great commentary in our second quarter-final of the day. It's an all-Chinese affair as far as our first semi-final is concerned. Vici J Thunder will take on the team they didn't want to face in the semi-finals. It is their brothers from China, of course, in the form of Newbee, after a very impressive 2-0 victory over the former major champions team Secret. Cap and Jack back at the panel with their thoughts. Cap, it's a tremendous performance over the whole series from Newbee.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like they were always in control. It seemed like even in that first game, again, they may be losing fights, but they definitely felt like they were still accomplishing what they were supposed to with their lineup. They were still slowing down the game. And in this one, they actually just kind of met Team Secret, who tried this very aggressive lineup with the Gyrocopter and Razor, and they just kept meeting them with this Death Prophet and Luna and actually outing them in so many of these team fights really well.
I mean, the last three games, Jack, have shown us that Luna looks really good at the moment. How has it only just started?
Yeah, a hero that does a lot of things. I mean, so how they tried to punish you this game by throwing a tri-lane. And of course, Luna is not the most durable hero. But then, as long as she can keep the deaths down, she can just end up retreating into the jungle and catching up. So while that was happening, that meant that the Earth Spirit was able to help a little bit with mid. SCCC was able to really exploit his matchup this game against the Gyrocopter, take all their towers. And then, again, going back to Secret, a lot of times I think their drafts, while they do have a lot of synergy, tend to be a bit greedy or slower.
Yeah.
In this case, if the Wraith King, this is a rarefied position who can both go into the jungle and provide that kind of scaling for your cores later on and be a frontliner. There's basically no other 5 in the game who fits those requirements. But that time that he's spent there farming, he's not able to really help initiate or fight. Skywrath falls off a little bit, and all of a sudden they have to make these very desperate smoke plays to get anything done against Newbee. So yeah, very well executed game from them.
And on the Dire side, we saw that Newbee, they had the Dire triangle that they were playing very well with. In the Luna, they also had double Ancient stacks going on. Here, same thing actually. They had the Ancient stack quite well for the Luna. And so when they're able to play this sort of defensive style where Newbee's just kind of letting the enemy team crash into them when it comes to trying to push objectives, they've got this better team fight. They say, you come at us, we're going to take that team fight, we're probably going to win it, and if you don't come at us, we're constantly going to be farming with our Luna, who's definitely going to be outpacing your Gyrocopter. So again, it felt like kind of the same game plan, both game 1 and game 2, maybe a little bit more combat from game 2 from the side of Newbee, a little bit more standard stand up and fight for yourself situation, but I think the crux of it was the fact that they always had this Luna able to use the Ancients, and Secret just appears to not be a team comfortable enough to be able to push the pace, take objectives, and take away the map control that would prevent the Luna from getting in that place in the first part.
Yeah, a disappointing result, Jack, obviously from Secret's point of view, but Newbee have bounced back, you know, looked good in Genting, then didn't look good so good last week, and now they look good again. It's this whole roller coaster that they take their fans on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you know, I talked about SCCC and kind of the fans' criticism of him coming in. I mean, he continues to prove that one of the most important things as a player is to be versatile and adaptable. And so in this situation, he's the one who has to carry the tempo of the team. He's the one who has to take objectives, take that solo lane and kind of snowball it into map control for his team instead of just being that kind of hero that comes in and cleans up and deals the damage. And he played his role wonderfully this game. And I think throughout this series, he showed that he can be a very different player from what his strengths were before.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mugi, in turn, is also taking the steps, right? Like, he used to be sort of that, he was the very stable, space-creating safe laner for you, and now he is showing that he's also the stable, hard carry so many times.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but he's only had to play Luna twice. And it looked good in both games.
Yeah,
no, it's not good.
Hey, he also had Ancient stacks to be able to work off of.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he was set up a lot. I mean, the boys on the casting desk, they kind of made the point that it's hard to pick out an MVP because all 5 have played really well across both series. But who do you pick out?
I'm kind of leaning towards Kaka here. I agree that SEC probably deserves an MVP performance in maybe one of those games, but Kaka was outstanding for both, and I think really stepped up in this series.
Okay, let's take a look at the scoreboard and show you how things shook down in game number 2. Newbee dominant yet again, and SCCC, look at that, 16-0-7. A much flashier game from him this time round, as Jack rightly pointed out. He was more the sacrificial lamb in game number 1. This time round, Mugi not taking the highlights, but a 4-1-12 game from him, and KP in on 17 of the kills. Kaka 1, 5, and 19. 19 kills of the 24 they picked up. On the other side of things, Ace having a very tough time on that Razor, 0, 7, and 4. Don't see many games like that from him these days.
Yeah, this is a tough game. I'd give SECC the MVP for this one. He had a pretty tough task. He had to take advantage of the openings he had to take towers and not get caught, not give that up. A couple times you saw him very narrowly dodge some smoke ganks out of Secret. So, very nice job there. Also, the itemization I think was perfect. Prevented him from being bursted down obviously as easily. The BKB able to turn several fights. So he played quite well this game. Some other things too, like I like the Wraith King being run in the tri-lane actually by Secret because if you run an aggressive tri-lane with this hero, he's able to go to the neutral camp and then just clear that, and so that takes away a little bit less from the lane and applies tower pressure. Again, these are rare things that a 5 position usually doesn't provide. But one of the downsides of that is that it took away from the Tide's experience as well. And the Tide is a hero who does excel with levels. Again, you become more durable, you can farm a bit more, you get that Ravage up sooner, and it really felt that they kind of needed that, because once he was behind, other cores were not doing great, then they had no way of doing anything except these desperate 5-man smokes.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to get more from both of you in just a moment, but I'm hearing SCCC is right now ready with Sir Action Slacks, so let's hear from the man himself, and perhaps Sir Action Slacks can find out whether Newbee are looking forward to playing Vici J Thunder in the semi-finals.
Here with SCCC. Give it up. Come on. Woo. Woo. There they are. SC, I was watching that game. It looked effortless. I am sorry to say. It looked easy to me. Was it hard to you? Was that a hard series?